breathtaking, top quality rugby league there. And that is the icing on the cake. Is he going to score? It's over, it's a try. Too big, too fast.
4 seconds left. Oh, Ryan Hall picks it up and scores in the corner.
You could not write their script.
You will never see anything like that again.
He's gone for a big one-pointer from halfway, and he's kicked it! He's kicked it! Oh, he's got it! Oh, my word! Oh, that's magnificent! It's one sensational try! That's the ball game! That's the grand final!
Oh, don't matter how much you paid tonight to come and watch this game. You just got every single penny's worth, and you might owe a bit more.
This is 5 Live Rugby League on 5 Live Sports Extra.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to a sunny Halliwell Jones Stadium. Warrington against Leeds. We're back on that endless path towards the grand final after that excitement of the Challenge Cup final last week. We have the bread and butter once more, but we are not complaining because this is going to be superb tonight. Two of the heavyweights of Super League who have been struggling just a little by their own reputational standards. Are we going to see one of them lift off tonight? Warrington played very well last time they were out against St Helens, but they got beaten. And Leeds, of course, 1 win, 1 defeat under new coach Rowan Smith. And look who's with us. Jodie Cullingham is with us tonight. How are you?
Hi, Dave. Yeah, very well, thank you. Good to be here.
Excellent. Looking forward to this? Because, of course, I mean, we're not giving anything away. You are a Warrington person, a Warrington girl.
yeah, born and bred Warrington girl. So, yeah, it's nice to be here at the stadium. Obviously, all my family will be supporting Warrington today.
Yeah, but you're strictly neutral.
Strictly neutral, of course.
What have you made of what? I mean, Leeds is, you know, to be judged, new coach, but Daryl Powell's been in charge for the start, from the start, I should say. What have you made of Warrington's season this year?
Yeah, I mean, they had a decent enough start, didn't they? And they got those first few wins, but probably the performance wasn't really there. And then as soon as they then came up against some of the tougher sides, they did come a little bit unstuck. I think there's probably a little bit of a turning point now. It always takes time to embed that new coach, the way they want to play, the systems, everything like that is going to always take time. So I think we will see a turning point for Warrington's season soon enough, and possibly even tonight.
And what about Leeds? New coach, obviously, all the problems that we know about. This stage of the season, and we've said this a few times, Salford a few years back didn't look like grand final potential, and yet they made one. Do you think Leeds can still make a grand final, or is that asking too much now?
I think Leeds as a team over the years have proved that you can never really write them off no matter where they're finishing in the table. You know, I think a new coach coming in at this point, again, similar to Warrington, it is going to take a little bit of time. I really like how he's come in and he's all about player first. He's very player centric, making sure that he looks after his team, he gives them the hard home truth that they need, but also puts the arm around them and looks after his players. I think he will get the best out of this squad, and you know, they've added some strength to that. I think Zach Hardacre obviously going in at fullback will add a lot to that squad, and they've struggled and done it tough with injuries, so as they start getting some of those players back, I think we'll see an upturn in Leeds season.
Well, let's just tell you how they're lining up tonight. Warrington, first of all, Gareth Widdop, fullback again, Connor Wrench. In fact, this is the same starting 13 that started against St Helens a couple of weeks ago. Gareth Widdop at fullback, Connor Wrench, Peter Matortia, Toby King and Matty Ashton, the three-quarters. Stephen Ratchford and George Williams in the halves. Front row, Joe Philbin, Daryl Clark, Mike Cooper. Back row, Ben Curry, Ollie Holmes and Billy Magoulias. And on the bench, Joe Bullock, Matt Davis, Robbie Mulhern and Carl Amor, friend of the show. You can hear him on the podcast. We'll be hearing from him at half-time, by the way, on the podcast this last week. But he makes his Warrington debut tonight, having moved across from St Helens for the rest of the season. Leeds lining up like this, as Jodie said, Zach Hardacre at fullback, three-quarters, David Fusitua, Reece Martin, Liam Sutcliffe and Ash Handley. Blake Austin, Richie Myler in the halves. Front row, Zane Tetivano, Cruz Leeming, Mikolai Aledzki. Back row, Morgan Gannon, Bodine Thompson and Cameron Smith. And on the bench, Matt Pryor, Brad Dwyer, Jared O'Connor and James Donaldson. And the referee tonight is Jack Smith. Tom Grant is our video referee. One match already underway, by the way, over in Perpignan. Catalan 0, Huddersfield 6 is a latest score, which might surprise those who thought Huddersfield might be on a downer this week and next after what happened to them in the cup final last week. But as things stand, it looks as though Ian Watson is getting something out of his side. James Bentley suspended again, Joe. I mean, you'd have seen a lot of him at St Helens. he's had a really shaky start to his Leeds career. I think he's been off the field more than he's been on the field.
Yeah, I think he has, and it's really tough with players like James Bentley. He always plays right on the line. That real aggression, that real intensity is probably what makes him a great player, but equally when he crosses that line, it's also what can hinder him as a player and hinder his team. And he's not had the best of starts for Leeds, and in that game where he took another 3-game suspension, he scored 2 tries. He started fantastically well. You can see what he offers when he's on the field. It's just keeping him on it seems to be the issue at the minute.
Absolutely. Well, he suffered from the crackdown at the start of the year, didn't he? But the crackdown might have lessened a little, but he's still off the field more than he's on it. Other games this weekend: Saturday, Castleford against Wigan. We'll be bringing you updates on that tomorrow on 5 Live. Toulouse Olympique against St Helens at 5 o'clock tomorrow. And on Sunday, Hull KR against Salford, Wakefield against Hull FC. Now, as we said, it's 1 win, 1 defeat so far for Rowan Smith since he took charge at Leeds. It's a fortnight since they last played, so he'll have plenty of time to work with his new players on the training field over this last couple of weeks, and I caught up with him a short time ago. Rowan, has this been a really useful 2 weeks to have with your team?
Yeah, certainly. We spent a couple of weeks there and got a couple of games away, and we showed some positive signs, I thought, in both those games. But to follow that up with a bunch of training and a bit of rest to recharge as well has been really well, done really well for us.
And what have you made of the group since your arrival?
Oh, they've been really receptive, and there's a good mix of experience and youth there. I think they get along well and they've been training well, so it's been positive.
New coach, everybody expects instant reactions, but how long do you feel before we see the Rowan Smith Leeds team?
Oh, that's really hard to put a date on, and I think it's always going to be an evolution. I'd like to think that from week to week we can show some improvement and some clear identity about who we want to be as a team. But to put a date on things is really hard.
Yeah. And I guess it's not been too much of a culture shock because, I mean, you know all about the British game, you've been here before, but is there anything that has surprised you since you've come back?
No, not really. This is my fifth time living in England, and it's a place that I love to be. So nothing too much has been shocking. I've been around a lot of clubs at all different standards of rugby league in different countries over the years. So I feel like I'm pretty prepared for whatever gets thrown my way.
What about your opponents tonight, Warrington? Because they've had a kind of a mixed season, but they're still in there and they performed very well last game out. What have you made of them? Oh,
they've got a lot of exceptional players. They're very well coached. And they're prepared to have a crack and chance their arm. So we're expecting a really hard battle tonight.
There you go, Rowan Smith, new head coach of Leeds Rhinos. First time we've had a chance to chat to him on 5 Live since he's taken over that role. I guess a new coach, a lot expected of Daryl Powell, for example, when he arrived here. I guess it's what you find. Christian Wolf at St Helens came in with a squad that was already successful, already well coached, well drilled, and it was just a case of implementing his changes as it went along. When you're a Rowan Smith arriving at Leeds, you've got a lot of work on your hands. When Daryl Powell arrives at Warrington, you've got a lot of work on your hands.
Completely agree. I think Christian Wolf, it was about fine-tuning. I think with these squads now, the coaches arguably, as long as they are given the time that they need to implement the changes, actually they can really put the stamp on these teams. They can really make these teams what they want them to be, shape some of the signings, some of the contracts that are going to be put in place over the next couple of years, and really make the squad what they want it to be. And I think Rowan Smith's definitely got the opportunity now at Leeds to do that, and it'll be exciting what he does over the next few months. Obviously he's got to get through the season and find his way to fight up the ladder, but I don't think that'll take too long. A win tonight will put him above Warrington, so it might sound like it's not where they want to be with Leeds in 10th place, but actually there's a lot of room for movement over the next couple of weeks.
Well, we shall see. As we said, 1 defeat against Salford, when Salford absolutely tore them apart. Actually, a lot of mistakes from Leeds on that day, and then they beat Wakefield. It wasn't a game I saw, but by all accounts they weren't great, Leeds, that day, but you get a win, you get a bit of confidence.
Yeah, 100%. Sometimes when you've not played well and then you end up getting the result at the end of it, it builds even more confidence, because you have to find a way to win when you're not at 100%. Let's face it, it's a long season, there's a lot of games, a lot of sore bodies. You've got to be able to perform and grind out a win even when you're not actually there 100% on all the different elements. So I think it'll definitely give them confidence, getting a win under the belt, and they'll be looking to back that up again tonight.
Well, Rowan Smith is just coming up the stairs now. Sean Long ahead of him, his assistant, of course. He reminds me of Lee Breers. Yeah, I think he looks a bit... Is it just me, Dad, or does he have a little look of a Lee Breers?
A bit of a Lee Breers. I'll give you that one, Dave. I'll give you that.
Well, we'll see. Let's hear from the Warrington camp. They beat Leeds in the opening weekend of the season, of course. Probably nicked it that day, but they're yet to find any consistency so far this season. Last time out, they lost to St Helens, but it was probably their brightest performance of the season. Certainly the crowd here at Warrington stayed with them right to the end there and gave them a bit of a standing ovation at the end of that match. So signs of improvement. And here's what Daryl Powell has had to say in the build-up to kick-off tonight.
So last time out, do you carry the muscle memory of that, because it was a good performance and the crowd really got behind you?
Yeah, I thought the crowd were phenomenal and it was a really strong performance. Obviously we nearly got the win at the end, but look, it was a great game. If we perform like that, we won't be too far away.
What does that do for confidence? What's that done for confidence in the last 2 weeks, the way you performed that night?
Well, we know we've got the players that can who can do anything in this competition. I think it's been getting the combinations right and us all connecting together in the right way. That's taken a little bit of time, but I think in the second half of this season we've got a great opportunity to put some things together and have a real crack at it.
Yeah. I mean, you're still there, aren't you? I mean, people say, oh, I'm struggling, but you're still there. You're still very much in the mix.
Yeah, 100%. We're not exactly where we wanted to be. There's no doubt about that, but we're capable. We're capable of doing something special over this second half of the season. Whether we do that or not, that's entirely down to us, and that starts tonight.
Have you paid much attention? Well, of course you have, but I mean, what attention have you been paying to Leeds in the build-up to this? What have you made of them?
Obviously the one lost one in the last couple of games. They've been all right. I think Cameron Smith's playing great in the middle, and Lehman's a big threat. And they've got class all over the field. So look, we just need to play well. They're going all right, but we need to be outstanding tonight. That's what I'm looking for.
Daryl Powell hoping his side can be outstanding tonight. Couple of headline acts in that Leeds side who might just come back to haunt Warrington, of course, in the halves. Blake Austin and Richie Myler. We're just waiting for the two teams to make their entrance. So for the sake of those who are just switching on, let me quickly run through these lineups again. Warrington, Gareth Widdop at full-back, Connor Wrench, Peter Matortia, Toby King and Matty Ashton in the three-quarters, Stephen Ratchford and George Williams in the halves, Joe Philbin, Darryl Clark, Mike Cooper, Ben Curry, Ollie Holmes and Billy Magoulias is the pack. And on the bench, Joe Bullock, Matt Davis, Robbie Mahone and Kyle Amor. And for Leeds, Zach Hardaker full-back, David Fusitua, Reece Martin, Liam Sutcliffe, Ash Hanley the three-quarters, Blake Austin, Richie Myler the halves, Zane Tetibano, Cruz Leeming, Mikolaj Olewski, Morgan Gannon, Bodine Thompson, Cam Smith the pack, and Matt Pryor, Brad Dwyer, Jared O'Connor and James Donaldson on the bench. And you made an interesting point, Jodie, about the Warrington bench tonight.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that bench, they're definitely going very forward heavy. They've been criticised, I think, so far this season that possibly they've been a little bit lacking in that forward pack. So it looks like they've gone really strong on the bench. They want to make this a forward battle, and obviously bringing Kyle Amor in, they possibly think that bolsters that forward pack there. So it'll be interesting to see how they go. Hopefully no injuries in the backs, because that might be interesting.
Yeah, and before the start of the season, there were Warrington fans who were saying, what's our pack? Is it big enough? And I mean, obviously Daryl Powell's very astute, and he's made some good signings for next year as well, hasn't he?
He has, yeah, and it's been really exciting, I think, for Warrington, some of the news that's been coming out, especially for next year. Two quality forwards coming across from Catalan, and I think really the big focus has to be now. So I think the Warrington fans are really excited for next year, but they want to make sure that they make something of this year and they don't write it off. So it's good to see that they're bringing, obviously, Kyle Amor in this week and getting him straight into the team. It is going to be exciting for them to see if he can really sort of enforce that forward pack with his experience.
Well, Leeds have made their entry, running onto the field and then playing follow my leader with Cruz Leeming. They're going all the way around. Have they come on at the wrong side? Because they came on, ran to the left-hand side, and then they're like snaking round the flag to take a line-up at the end, the half in which, if you know your Warrington Stadium, where the away fans are, there's a cluster of Leeds fans back there So they're on the field, and we've got the countdown now for Warrington to make their entrance as well, as is the norm at Super League this year. The big screen showing some of the thunderous highlights, the explosive moments, the quality tries that teams have scored before they get out, just to get everybody in the mood, whipping up everybody into a frenzy. There's not too many signs of frenzies on the far side. People just seem to be enjoying the sunshine at the moment, but we're going to see Warrington making their entrance in just a moment. The Leeds players standing patiently. Here they come, here they come. This is the Halliwell-Jones Stadium, as the announcer says, and Stefan Ratchford to a bit of a roar. Now the noise as Warrington take to the field. Stefan Ratchford, Mike Cooper, Ollie Holmes, out they come. Gareth Widdop just bouncing on to the field. Leeds are lined up with arms over shoulders. This will be for the RFL's tackle it moment, the 13 seconds. Warrington are taking up their positions on the field, ready for kick-off. Clearly Leeds are going to kick off. The flag is being carried off down there by all the youngsters. And here we go. Referee Jack Smith comes on with the ball. Wolfie's there, resplendent in his green jersey, the colours which Warrington will be wearing at the Magic weekend. And as the announcer just announces that we're going to have the tackle it 13 seconds here, just creates a bit of ripple of applause around the stadium as well. Here we go. 13 seconds applause. The anti-discrimination, racial discrimination, but discrimination of all kinds, not to be tolerated. Rugby League stands together in 13 seconds in recognition of that message. Jack Smith blows his whistle. The hooter is sounded. We're about to get underway. Jodie, what are we expecting here tonight?
I think we're going to see a really tough battle. It's two teams that really need a win. Probably both teams, if you'd have watched that first opening game of the season, you wouldn't have expected, from the quality we saw then and how tight it was, that these two teams would be sitting in 8th place with Warrington and 10th place with Leeds. So both probably disappointed with where they sit right now in the season, and wanting to really turn things around and get some wins under the belt. So really tight game, I reckon. Yeah,
I think, like you say, you watched that game and you thought, wow, especially Leeds, because they lost out that day, but wow, this is going to be great for both these clubs, and less than that so far. Big kick-off, Ratchford catches it, runs it back, not even as far as the 20. There's some groans of complaint from Warrington fans who felt he might have been taken high, and Stefan Ratchford gets up and glares at Jack Smith as well, asking why that wasn't a penalty. But the game carries on. Clark picks up from dummy half, goes to that right-hand side. Philbin comes crashing down the middle, and he's held up 5 short of the halfway. So a decent set here so far from Warrington. 3 tackles, almost getting them in their opponent's half. Magulius does get them into the Leeds half with a carry and a push and a few metres after contact. So a couple of tackles still to go. 30 metres out. Right, it comes to Williams. Williams sees a bit of a gap and tries to dash into it, but Cameron Smith is there to chop him down. Last play, Ratchford, right-footed, dinks it up, leaves it short, or he doesn't, he just overcooks that, so it's caught on the full by Fussy Toure. It'll be a tap back on the 20 for Leeds, and 7 tackles to respond here, Jodie.
Yeah, it was a quality set. I think Warrington worked the way upfield really well. Leeds defended well, and I think if that kick had just had a metre or 2 taken off it, it would have been a brilliant end to set. But without that, obviously, it's caught in goal, and it's a 7 tackle set for Leeds, so they'll be happy with starting the ball there with those 7 tackles.
Here's Leeming, dashes out, almost gets towards the halfway line when he's put down. So Leeds start again. Smith throws it to that right-hand side. Austin back on the inside again, and Warrington's defence having to be smart here. Minute and a half played. First touch of the ball for Leeds in this set. As they respond to Warrington's opener, Myler switches it left. It's a little step here from Sutcliffe, but plenty of Warrington defenders there to not only grab a hold, but drag him back a yard or 2, just slow things down at the ruck. Myler again. Not heard any boos. Normally when you get the former players back, there's just 1 or 2 ripples in the crowd, isn't there? But he's gone unnoticed so far. Leaning left to Myler again, throws it out to Sutcliffe, who puts that right-footed dab ball through. It's an awkward one. Widdop tries to get to it. The ball bounces to the ground. The referee says no knock-ons. Warrington get it back 5 metres from their own line.
Yeah, a little bit of a tasty time there for Widdop. He struggled to collect that ball, but I think it just ricocheted off his shins or his knee, and they managed to regather that, Warrington there. But they'll be very relieved with that one, because it was a bit of a dangerous grubber kick along the floor.
Yeah, would have hated to give away a repeat set there, wouldn't they, Warrington? So 0-0. By the way, Catalan 0, Huddersfield 12 is the latest score in Perpignan, which is a surprise, but it ain't over. Not sure what time they kicked off. Clearly earlier than the one here, given it's 12-0. Oh, and there's Widdop with a quick pass. Great hands from Fussy Tua. Wrench now on this right-hand side, throws it back to the middle. It's caught superbly well by Holmes, who steps inside. Matorti, not Fussy Tua, I do apologise. He's put down his Holmes, 5 metres away from the line. Williams goes to that left-hand side. It's a jog back towards the middle again. Williams throws it up to Widdop. Widdop taking it up to the line and tries to dive through and then offloads, and in comes Ash Handley to intercept. The elbows had hit the ground anyway, and the tackle was complete when Widdop offloaded, so it's a penalty for Leeds. But bright stuff there from Warrington.
Really exciting stuff. I think this right edge from Warrington has been exciting over the last couple of games. You can see that they've got the quality there to create some really magical moments, and we nearly got one there, and I'm not too sure whether Conor Wrench needed to throw the really long cut out pass to the middle. There was a few players in support there who possibly could have finished off that try, but great scrambling defence from Leeds there. I think they'll be really happy and relieved that they didn't concede there.
And you like the look of Widdop at full back as well.
Yeah, I just think he's a really exciting player with that freedom that he has when he's coming and sweeping around the back, just being able to play a little bit more instinctively. It takes away the pressure of him being able to organise in attack. He can just look instinctively and slot in where he needs to, and he's clearly showing that he's a really creative player out the back.
It's a role he's played at international level, hasn't he, a time or two, Gareth Widdop, even though he wears 6. Here is the kick from Austin, another Great Britain international on the wing. Kick downfield, it's an awkward bounce. It clearly got lost in the sunshine there from Widdop's point of view, but Conor Wrench has done really well to get back in the field of play.
Yeah, Conor Wrench did amazingly well then. I think the sun's causing some bother there for the outside backs of Warrington. It's just quite falling in the eye, so I think Widdop lost that in the sun, let it bounce, and Conor Wrench did really well to make sure he stayed in the field of play.
Here's Matortia trying to look strong, trying to go through the defence of Leeds. He's put down, but again Warrington are probing the edges. Darrell Clark with a little dummy. Now he looks back on the inside. Williams is there, Clearfield ahead of him, but has he got the legs? Austin comes across, half tackles, Williams kicks to the right, and it's too hard, bounces out of play. I think the problem there for Warrington was that Ollie Holmes was the winger and nobody wanted to pass to him.
Yeah, that was a really interesting combination on the right edge, which we wouldn't have expected. Obviously, Darrell Clark there just filling in on an edge. He was sort of in that centre position with Ollie Holmes on his outside on the wing. He did really well to throw a dummy, make that break himself, and George Williams not quite having the legs and trying to put that little kick through, a little bit too strong, but Warrington showing a lot of promise here that they're really testing this Leeds defence.
You could almost see the double take from Darrell Clark when he looked outside expecting a Matty Ashton or a Conor Wrench, and instead it's Ollie Holmes. And he decided he ain't quick enough. I'll try go back to the middle on George Williams, and he weren't quick enough either, was he?
Yeah, I mean, Darrell Clark himself isn't slow, is he? He's got a fair bit of pace. Well, Ollie Holmes, I'm sure, would have been more than willing to take that one and give it a go. But yeah, Darrell Clark decided to go himself there, and yeah, lots of promise here shown for Warrington.
Leeds looking to strike back towards Liam Sutcliffe, who angles in from the left-hand side towards the centre. Cruz Leeming picks up from dummy half and will have a little run, and he's found a bit of space for Cameron Smith, and Cameron Smith just has his ankles tapped by Ratchford, otherwise he was a scorer. He goes down, Leeming kicks towards the right-hand side, Fusitua catches and touches down. That's how you do it. Leeming's kick, instinctive and accurate. Fusitua with a try, and you'd have to say maybe against the run of play. Leeds have the lead, 4-0.
Yeah, end to end really, isn't it? And I think it's really telling that Leeds, exactly the same, made a little bit of a break, but managed to really get that pinpoint accuracy with the kick on the end of that to get and convert it into points. And that's what Warrington are missing, just that little bit of accuracy at the end of a set to really finish off and get those points. And Leeds did fantastically well there. I think Cruz Leeming set up the initial break, just really dug into the line. I think Ben Curry just turned his hips a little bit, which put Cameron Smith through the line, and then that brilliant kick, pinpoint kick into the corner to make it an easy-ish. I say easy, I'm sure any winger would disagree, but a great take on the edge there to put it down and take Leeds ahead. But really impressed there with how they turned that around and went from defence to attack so quickly.
Yep, well, confidence building amongst the Leeds players on the back of that, leading now by 4 points to 0. Kick to come on that right-hand side. Reece Martin just setting up the tee. Rowan Smith is very much in focus on the big screen. We saw him applauding that try, the instinct and the execution from Leeming in creating the opportunity. And Warrington players are underneath the sticks and maybe asking themselves, how come we're not winning this game? Because they've had their chances, haven't they?
100%. You would be very disappointed, and sometimes that can really kill confidence when you've had two fantastic opportunities to get points on the board, not quite been able to take it.
Missed it, Reece Martin.
And then the opposition goes full length in a set and then manages to put points on the board. I think it can be a bit of a confidence killer. Warrington need to take the confidence from the fact they're creating opportunities, but they are going to have to try and just get a little bit more precise with some of those final plays, just like Leeds shown there with Cruz Leeming.
8 minutes played, Warrington 0, Leeds 4. But it's been a bright start, hasn't it? Entertaining for the neutral and the non-neutral.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely been full on from the starting whistle, so it'll be interesting to see how the rest of this game goes. It's really intense, high-end rugby, so for 80 minutes this is going to be a definite lung killer for those middles.
Here's Hardacre bringing it out. The ball shifted to him in the middle, and he tries to set a platform. Little spin and a turn in the tattle. Is that Thompson who gets up and plays the ball? It's Oledzki, and now it comes to that right-hand side as Leeds begin to spread. 3 tackles gone, they're up to the 30-metre mark. Leeming out of dummy half. It's a boisterous move forward again, and Leeming gets that ball away to this left-hand side. Myler tries to dodge away but can't. 2 men there. Wolf is just lit up red. I think the advertising hoarding in front of him has just sparked into life. He almost falls over the padding as well. That's happening in front of us, but out on the field, Leeds have possession 5 metres inside the Warrington half, but last play coming. This is Leeming now, spins it to the left-hand side. Myler looked a little bit forward, but he's allowed to get on with it. Sutcliffe puts it high in the air. Oh, that's a catch and an offloaded flick that very nearly got things moving again, but Leeming knocks on. It was a difficult ball when it came to him from Gannon's flick pass, so it is a knock-on, but again a little bit of enterprise there from Leeds in the build-up.
Yeah, they're not being predictable in the play, which is causing Warrington some problems there. Obviously, Richie Myler, you'd think, would have been putting that kick in on last play, but he decides to play it, finds Sutcliffe, who then puts the kick in, and they nearly come up with it again. They chased really well, Warrington sort of allowing Leeds to take the high kick and backing themselves to defend it off the back of that. But yeah, really interesting stuff from Leeds. Here's
Matortia trying to fend off Bodine Thompson, but Thompson keeps a hold, grabs a hold, ain't going to let go, so Warrington have to start again with the play the ball. Just charging down the middle in the shape of Magoulias, who's a couple of strides away from the halfway line. Warrington 0, Leeds 4. If you're just switching on, 5 Live Sports Extra. We'll be on our sister station, Radio 5 Live. Wherever you're listening to this, stay right where you are, but we'll be on 5 Live in the second half as well. So, good fun in the sunshine at Warrington. Here's Widdop on that left-hand flank, tries to force the ball to King, but leads his defence across. So 5 gone, here comes the last. Warrington less than 20 away. Ratchford kicks back towards the left corner as Warrington attack, and up goes Fussy Tua, big hands, and again it looked over long, that kick. Oh, it's offside. I thought it was going to be a tap back on the 20, but the referee says the Warrington chase is offside, so Leeds get a penalty here.
Yeah, really interesting. A little bit too much on the kick again, I think, there from Ratchford. Just not quite getting it that metre or so away from that in-goal line, which is where you want it to land. Obviously, that repeat set would have been, if it hadn't been the penalty, I think they'd have got a repeat set there anyway. So, yeah, it's really, really interesting stuff. They're sort of finding that last play, but not quite getting that kick right at the minute. And now Leeds are starting off the set in really good field position and probably high on confidence too.
Catalan 0, Huddersfield 18. The try scorers there, by the way, Lutelli, O'Brien and McQueen. So what a response from Huddersfield. Oh, that's a shoulder-in challenge from Williams. Just making sure that Sutcliffe wasn't going to go too far forward. Pick up by Handley, who scoots just inside the Warrington half. So Leeds in possession. Leeming again, picks up and skips forward, runs towards his left-hand side. Gets the ball away, but Gannon is put down, smothered by Warrington defenders. They enjoyed that, the locals here. Last play, Austin sticks it up in the air. Forward comes Widdop at pace and a leap, but it's a Leeds hand that knocks it, and it went forward And it'll be, is it Warrington who knocked it? No, it is Leeds who knocked it forward, so Warrington get it back 15 from their own line.
Yeah, they're really testing this Warrington backfield, you know, that really high kick, putting bodies in and around it, making it difficult for Widdop. Obviously, it was a knock-on from Leeds there, but they're still testing Warrington. They're not making it easy for them. They're getting in the face, and I've been really impressed with the line speed. They're making Warrington work for this, and it'll be interesting. I'm sure it'll be something magical that'll come from the Warrington backfield as soon as they sort of take that pressure off. But so far, really good from Leeds.
It's a galloping run forward by Mike Cooper. I think that's him, isn't it? He's a galloper, drives it in. Now it's Philbin. Philbin again looking to take it forward. Just 8 metres or so inside that Leeds half. Comes towards this right-hand side. Step back by Ollie Holmes. Smothered in the tackle again. 5 gone. Last play, 22 metres out, just right of centre. Williams now kicks it towards the left-hand side. Up goes... well, a couple of players, and it's actually King who comes down with it, but the referee has, I think, given a knock-on here against King and dropping it into Fusitua. Either way, it's a handover. Leeds have it back again.
Much better kick from Warrington there, though, really contesting it, making it difficult for Fusitua there. King is brilliant in the air. I think one of his real strengths as a centre is how well he contests some of those high ball kicks. You see him score many of his tries off kicks, so it was an impressive kick, good challenge, but Warrington not quite coming off on the right side of that one, but definitely challenging Leeds' defence a lot more there with that last kick play.
That's a duel worth watching, that, isn't it? King against Fusitua as the night goes on, because Fusitua is about 8'3", isn't he? And as you say, King has that prodigious quality, doesn't he? So
yeah, both brilliant with the high ball, both really good in the air, taking that ball high, so it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top with that battle.
Leaning runs it up to the 30-metre mark inside his own half. Leeds beginning to advance forward again here, leading as they do by 4-0 at Warrington. Sunny evening, why not? It is June. We're due a bit of sunshine. Leading darts into dummy half again. Austin on that right-hand side looking to get things going. He didn't get the ball away, Austin. He went to ground. Everybody thought he passed. He now picks himself up, and Leeds switch it back towards the centre of the field, where Zane Tetavano will just drive it in. Inside the 40, inside the Warrington half. Leeming again. Now Austin with a dummy this time. They've seen that plenty of times on this ground, but Rashford, his old teammate, he's not buying it. Tackles him. 20 away. Last play. Leeming just dabs it in. Real controlled kick, trying to put Warrington right on their own line. Williams has it, but that's a good finish because Warrington have it 5 from their own line.
Yeah, Leeds will be happy finishing a set there. Warrington again, I think, defended it really well. They'll know, obviously, all too well how good Blake Aston is when he runs the ball, so a little bit of contention there. Not too sure whether that was... There's a little bit of a knock-on there, was there? But crowd getting nice and loud there.
But it was allowed to carry on, and here comes King. 5 away from the halfway line. Clark picks it up as a little glance forward, decides there's nothing on for him, so passes to Ratchford, who in turn hands on to Philbin, and Philbin, all hustle and bustle, takes it 10 metres inside the Leeds half. But this is the last play again, so they'll be looking for a good kick from Williams, who just sticks it high. Handley's underneath it, chased down by Conor Wrench, who did a good job of shutting down Handley and tackling him 10 from the Leeds line. Across the centre of field it comes again. Leeds looking to build. So reminder, Warrington 0, Leeds 4, Catalan 0, Huddersfield 18 in the 2 Friday night matches. Couple of matches tomorrow, couple of matches on Sunday. There's Leeming. Warrington fans far side thought that was untidy when he picked it up, that there might have been a knock on, and Leeming throws a big hoisted pass over the top of a lot of his own players and landing in the hands of Morgan Gannon, who's tackled on the 40-metre mark, 10 metres in from this left touchline side. Leeds edging forward again on the halfway line, but again they've reached the last. So here comes Austin. It's a big boot up, and it just gets held in the wind a little, so Widdop has to control his position, does that well, takes the pass, throws it back towards Matty Ashton. He's closed down, and Leeds start less than 20 from their own line.
Yeah, it really is end to end. I think both sides are doing really well to work their way through field. They're completing the sets. We're not seeing too many errors. They're really getting to the back end of that set, getting the kick away. The only difference so far has just been that precision from the kick. But now it looks like Warrington are really getting into their own. They collected that kick really well, and they're moving through field really strongly, hitting in around the ruck. You can see the forwards getting through that work, possibly because they know they've got a real strong forward bench now that can rotate in and give those forwards a rest.
Williams with a kick early in the count. Has he overcooked this? Yes, he has. The ball just bounces out of play beyond the in-goal area, and it'll be a tap back on the 20. Not quite got his range tonight, has he, George Williams? Oh, the tap's taken quickly. Warrington, well, I was going to say we're asleep because Richie Myler's suddenly dashing into a huge gap, but the referee's given a forward pass. So Warrington, Leeds thought they had the breakthrough, but Warrington should get the ball back here.
That was a close one. That, again, Leeds just really looking up and being quite instinctive with the play. Warrington not quite getting back onside and ready for that, and they find that pass, and Richie Myler was almost away. I think, you could see his eyes light up at the open field that he saw ahead of him, but just a little bit forward. I think right call there, but it's nice to see them looking and trying to exploit this Warrington side, playing from the first play.
18 minutes played, Warrington 0, Leeds 4, and half time in Perpignan Catalan 2, Huddersfield 18. Warrington are attacking here. King on that right hand side is grabbed at as he tries to get on the outside of Rhys Martin. He's put down, 15 out, back towards the middle. Widdop, now it's Philbin. Philbin drives it in, 10 out, less than 10 when he's eventually wrestled to the ground. He want to get up quickly, but Valetsky's doing the job of keeping on top. Back towards Ratchford. Here comes Cooper. Cooper trying to push through. Sheer determination. Trying to get the arms free. He loves an offload, but not this time. Can't get it away. They're numbering on this right-hand side. To Williams, to Widdop. Widdop now delays the pass and tries to put Matortia into a bit of a gap, but Leeds' defence is strong. Matortia's claiming this. Matortia thinks he's got over, and the referee, after consulting with the touch judge, says no try, but we'll let the video ref have a look at this. Well, Peter Matortia went very quickly to claim this one.
He did, yeah, and you'd like to think when there's a video ref about that players know, and they know it's not worth claiming for unless they genuinely believe they've got that ball down. So it'll be really interesting this one. It looked like Leeds had it covered. There was 3 men around the ball, so if he has managed to get this ball down, it's fantastic strength there from Peter Matortia to drag 3 players over the line and still manage to ground the ball.
Well, we're having a look, and the angle we're looking at now, no chance of seeing anything. And if every angle shows us nothing, of course it will be no try, because that's what the referee's posted. But this could be an angle, Matortia reaching. Ooh, well, the fans close to the video, the big screen, are all cheering. We're a long way away.
Yeah, well, I think that the Warrington cheers there makes you think that there's some sort of angle there that's showing the ball down on the ground. Not too much that we can see from here, is there, Dave? But no. Yeah, it looks like there's some cheers going about, so possibly is a try.
Here we go. I would say not the most enthusiastic of cheers. No, that's why. No try. I think they were trying to convince the video referee, if he was listening, that should be a try, but it's no try. No. So it remains at 4-0 for Leeds.
No try, but really great effort from Warrington. It's nice to see George Williams and Gareth Widdop there combining out the back, and Peter Matortia's got lots of skill and ball playing ability himself, but decides to take it on that time and just about gets held up.
So Warrington keep possession, 10 yards back, they play the ball, and here they come again. Magulius is hunted down by Tetavana, who came flying in, slides him down in the tackle. Back with Williams now. Williams will kick again towards the right hand side. Wrench is trying to get it, but it's Leeds who come up with possession. Not the best of kicks, that was it, but Leeds have got some work to do here, Jodie, from deep inside their own half.
They have not the best of kicks, like I say, they've been just a little bit off with that last play, Warrington, on some of it, but they will be happy with where they're turning the ball over. Leeds have got the full field now that they've got to work out to get anywhere near the try line, so not a bad end to the set. I just think they can be a little bit more precise with some of these kicks in terms of where they're putting them and making it a little bit more difficult for Leeds.
4 gone, Leeds up to the 40-metre mark, make that 5. They're now 5 short of the halfway line. The referee sticks his hand in the air. Here comes Leeming out of dummy half. Austin just pumps the ball down the middle, kicks it low and makes sure it bounces several times, so as difficult as possible for Wrench to pick up, and Wrench runs back at an efficient Leeds chase. Solid line, and he's settled on the 30-metre mark. Here's Matortio, little steps as he runs it in. Oh, there's a couple of injuries here, aren't there? There's Morgan Gannon, who's stayed down. Connor Wrench looks a little shaky, although Bubble, the technician, is on there from Warrington's point of view, shouting a few orders. Warrington in the meantime get a penalty on the halfway line.
Yeah, offside penalty there. Leeds will be disappointed with that. I think defensively we're looking really strong and have done so far in this game. So it really is a motivation for your side when you're Warrington and sides are giving away penalties, because it's just easy meters for you. And if you lead, it is a killer because you're putting all your energy into defence. You're making sure you've got your line speed, you're getting off the line to then concede a penalty. It really does kill you. It really knocks the tank, the energy tank that you've got going there. So they'll be disappointed to give away that penalty, but the defences look strong so far, so I'm sure they'll be able to hold this one if they combine defensively.
21 minutes played. We've got a stoppage here because Morgan Gannon still being treated, and the physio down there, the Leeds physio, has just tapped the top of his own head, which suggests that Morgan Gannon is coming off for a head assessment, and that is what's happening. So we're going to see James Donaldson for the first time in this game. Have we seen a head injury assessment card being produced? I'm not sure we have, but that would seem to be the case. We'll just watch to see if Gannon goes down. Yep, he's straight down the tunnel, so he's going to have that head injury assessment. Donaldson comes on, but Warrington put the penalty out of play 30 metres from the Leeds line, and that's where they have the tap restart. And here's one of their fresher bodies, Robbie Mulhern, off the interchange bench, put down 25 away. Clark goes left. Cooper still doing the minutes. He is a big minutes man, just driving and again just trying to get a few more metres after that initial contact. Williams passes inside to Mulhern. Mulhern is pushing hard, 3 defenders putting him down, 5 metres out. Clark stands and waits. The big fella's running in, but the pass goes behind to Williams. Williams with a sidestep. One of the Leeds defenders went flat on the floor. Aledzki slipped over, it was, and Williams has got over the line, but he's held up. Suddenly there was a huge gap where the Polish-born prop forward had disappeared, but Leeds' defence recovered remarkably there.
I'm really impressed with that last-ditch defence. When a player slips, there's not a lot you can do as a defensive line other than try your best to get your body in the way, and they did that fantastically well on Williams there.
Here's Widdop. Oh, Matortio tried the quick pass. It bounces off the hands of Handley. It's back in the hands of Widdop. I think that's played at, so it's another set of 6, and Warrington is still only 10 metres away. Williams is trying the little dance. Yep, referee just signalling that's the first, so 6 tackles for Warrington here, 5 metres out. It's going to be a big charge, barge forward. Back it comes to Mulhern. Mulhern now tries to force his way over. He's held up, stopped, twisted, just hopping on one leg at the moment, and grasps himself. Clark goes back to Ratchford. Ratchford throws it to the left. Curry gets the pass away. Widdop puts it over the top. Here's Ashton flying in at the corner. Real dive from him. Celebrations all round, and now it's confirmed because the referee points the finger. Matty Ashton with a try. Warrington back level at 4 apiece.
Fantastic play there by Warrington. I think this combination, allowing Ratchford there to step up, find Widdop out the back, and Widdop with his fantastic vision there finds the perfect pass for Matty Ashton, who's got that acrobatic one-handed dive to put it in the corner. But brilliant play there from Warrington. They're looking like they're shipping the ball around much better than we've seen in previous games. You know, the sort of that Warrington of that Saints Warrington game where they're really throwing it around and finding the ball on the edges. So brilliant try there. Fantastic play, working the way through lots of hands.
Took some scoring that, didn't it? Took some scoring, as we say cliched and boringly every week, I think. You know, 10 years ago we'd have been off our seats at that, going, how's he done that? That defies the laws of physics, but they do it every week.
Great. I think one of the best rule changes they ever made was to take away the fact that obviously if you make any contact with that corner flag, it used to be that you were in touch, and they took that away. And I think it's just produced so many fantastic tries that we can really exploit the skill of these fantastic wingers who can dive one-handed in the corner, and it's just been such a benefit to the sport. Genuinely believe one of the best rule changes we've ever made.
So Stefan Ratchford, as a result of that try in the corner, is presented with a difficult conversion. Just a step in from the touchline, so he's almost back on the advertising hoardings as he prepares himself for this kick. Here he comes, running forward with those bright orange boots. He struck it well, but the Leeds fans are the ones that are cheering because it has missed. So it's all square, 4-4, and I think that's it's a balanced scoreline in a balanced game.
Yeah, I would say it's accurate. Both sides looking to throw the ball around, looking to play. You can tell they've not shown up to this, wanting to play a defensive game. They've wanted to throw the ball around and show what they can do, and both teams seem to be playing with confidence at the minute.
So here we go, about to get the game underway again. Sun still shining, there are still streaks of sunlight across this ground. Most of it is in shadow at the moment, and because we've been used to the hot weather today, certainly this afternoon, it's just beginning to feel a little chilly. And I mean, it's not chilly, we're just being soft, aren't we? But well, maybe it's just me being soft. You might not be feeling chilly. Here's Williams, and now Matortia. Matortia is closed down by Leeds defenders, 25 metres out, picked up by Widdop out of dummy half. He's going to have a little roam forward to see what's out there, but Cam Smith comes forward and makes that tackle. Clark again, Mulhern sweeps it left to Williams. Williams again with that little flicked kick of his as he runs, his running style, and Ratchford, having taken the pass, he's tackled by Martin. Warrington just edging inside the Leeds half here at the moment. Joe Bullock is on from the bench. He finds a spot of sunshine in which he's tackled, but that is the fifth, so here comes the last. Williams kicks it high again. Fusitua has got plenty of time to catch and run away from the chasing defenders and then really take them on, and Warrington trap him at 15 metres from his own line. Here's Martin ranging forward again. Warrington anxious to keep them down here, Jodie, just really put some pressure on if they can.
Yeah, I think Warrington's best thing so far has been the limited metres that they've managed to do to Leeds when they've got the ball in their own half. It was fantastic play, we mentioned that pinpoint kick to get the first points on the board, but they allowed them into that good field position which allowed them to do that. So far I think Warrington will be happy with the way that they've limited the metres.
Oh, brilliant there, handling from Leeds. We're going to have to watch that again. Hardacre on the back of it, and it will be scored by Leeming. I rather fancy that Richie Myler has just produced something magical there, because it looked as though he was going to be smashed off the ball, but somehow he flicked a pass away that got Hardacre going, and Leeming finishes, and that was one of those wow moments.
Yeah, brilliant, and it's nice to see some of that ball playing ability, being able to take it at the line. Richie Myler, I think, he's struggled a little bit to find his position, and he's played a little bit at full-back, had a bit of injury, he's come back in now, but that inside ball to Zach Hardacre was absolutely fantastic, dug right into the line. Brilliant play by Leeds.
Well, we'll watch this again. Unbelievable, and as Leeming is scoring, Hardacre is actually turning round to thank his teammate. Let's have a look at this. This is the best angle. Oh, did he mean to do that? Well, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. There was a Warrington player rather, who was about to hit him, and Myler just got hands to it. Next minute it's in Hardacre's hands. Yeah,
I mean, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. From that angle it looks like he didn't have too many other options. Warrington had done really well to shoot out the line, try and put pressure on Richie Myler, make him play early, and the only option really was to tip it back inside, but it worked out brilliantly for Leeds, and that's always the danger when you shoot out the defensive line, that you may create some gaps, and that's what they did there. Zach Hardacre hit that inside line brilliantly well and found Cruz Leeming under the sticks.
And Martin has kicked the goal, so Warrington 4, Leeds 10, and within 4 minutes of Warrington giving themselves a leg up with a try and all the confidence that comes with that, Leeds have struck back in brilliant fashion to take the lead again, and this time by 6 points with 12 minutes of this first half remaining. It's the Leeds fans who are barking out their song at the moment, marching on together as Warrington restart. Kick downfield by Widdop, caught by Fusitua over his head. They don't mind that, do they? They just stick their hands up in the air and catch it up in the air. I'm sure that, do the coaches coach that now?
Yeah, it's definitely something that's coached, and it looks so easy when you see them do it, but trust me, as a former fullback, it's not an easy skill to master, and it's brilliant to see them do it so easily and so confidently.
Yeah, well, Leeds are going travelling again here, 30 metres away from their own line. It's Thompson up to the 40, leaning again. in at dummy half. Big game here tonight for both these two teams. They've stuttered throughout the season with various degrees of unconvincing performances, but just signs in both camps that things might be turning around. Kyle Amor's on the field in a Warrington shirt. That's an unusual sight. Here is Austin trying to bustle his way through. Leeming at dummy half, bounces out. It's going to be Tetavano who drives it forward up to the 20, but that's the last play, or the 5th play. Here comes the last. Leeming again, skips to the left and then goes to the right. It's Smith to Hardacre. Hardacre straightens up and he's over. Well, he just put the foot down. Warrington looked like they got to him, but he twisted in the tackle and has reached in. And Hardacre now 2 telling insights in the last couple of minutes. One involved in the setup, the second in scoring the try. 30 minutes gone, Leeds lead 14-10.
Wow, Leeds look like a team playing with such confidence now, and it's brilliant to see. You know, Zach Hardacre again playing with confidence, taking on the line, and it took some scoring that. I'm not too sure who it was who sort of missed that tackle, but he did really well to ride a couple of tackles there, reach out and put his hand over the line, reach out with his arm there to score the try over the line. But brilliant play by Hardacre, and again, confidence from Leeds to play it on last. They weren't looking to put the kick in. They decided they were going to dig in and test that Warrington defence, and I think it might have been Ratchford who just had to dive a little bit, didn't quite get his body in front of Zach Hardacre, and he was more than strong enough there to ride that tackle and get the ball over the line.
I think, is that his first try since his return? I think that might be his first try since his return, hence the heartier celebrations than would be the norm, because he was punching the air. He was quite thrilled by that, Zach Hardacre. And Rhys Martin with a conversion attempt, which by Rhys Martin's standards is fairly straightforward, just to the right of the sticks, 12 metres out, strokes the boot through it, and it means that Leeds lead now by 16 points to 4. And those are crucial moments. In the game in Perpignan, by the way, Arthur Morg has got a try back early in the second half for Catalan, which has been converted by Sam Tompkins, so it's now Catalan 8, Huddersfield 18 early in the second half. If you're wondering why Catalan kicked a penalty when they were 18-0 down to make it 18-2, I think it was the last act of the first half, so it was just getting 2 points on the board. But 8 for Catalan, 18 for Huddersfield. Here, Warrington 4, Leeds 16. There's a slip from Hardacre as the ball is passed to him. He keeps a hold of it, but that Warrington defence is able to get up there in his face and make the tackles. So, frustration in this first half from Warrington's point of view?
Possibly a little bit. I just think because they've had the opportunities to put points on the board and they've not quite managed it, and Leeds have had equal opportunity but managed to capitalise on those opportunities and get points on the board. So I think they will be frustrated. Being 16-4 down, it's probably not that much of a difference in this game. I don't know whether that is a true reflection. It's been fairly even, both sides having opportunities, so possibly a frustrating time for Warrington.
Leeds are coming again here for Satur down that right hand side, running along the touchline. He's going to be caught and he's put down, but only 25 metres out. But it is the last play. Leeds want to get on with it. Austin kicks it all the way to the right hand side. Up goes Handley, knocks it down. This is going to be another try that is finished by James Donaldson. And Leeds have scored 3 times now in the blink of an eye. In 4 or 5 minutes, they've got 3 tries. They've turned this game from a real struggle into a bit of a cakewalk at the moment. Warrington 4, Leeds 20.
Fantastic play again by Leeds, and you know, I'm repeating myself, but they just look like they're playing with so much confidence. And again, Blake Austin looking up that pinpoint kick into the corner. Leeds bodies all around to take that kick. I think it's Sutcliffe, I think, who then takes on the line. Possibly could have reached out and scored it himself, and manages to tip it on to Donaldson, who's in support there, and gets over the line for Leeds. But everybody looks like they're moving forward with intent. These bodies around the ball, and you make your own luck in rugby league, and any 50-50s usually go the way of the team, and you may say it's luck, but it's usually the team that's playing with confidence, getting bodies around the ball, tends to be the one who gets the 50-50s. So when balls go up in the air like that, Leeds are putting their bodies in the way, getting up there, tipping balls on, and that's where they're getting the points off the back of that.
Well, James Donaldson won't have scored many tries in the corner in his career, will he? But Johnny on the spot on that occasion, wasn't he? To finish it all off. Here's a kick from the touchline for Rhys Martin. Just a sense of a growing disquiet amongst Warrington supporters who perhaps can't really believe what they've been watching, and it looked as though it was going to get worse because Martin's kick looked as though it was going to go through, but then it drifted wide. But it's Warrington 4, Leeds 20, with 6 minutes of this first half remaining.
I think frustration comes from Warrington is because they show that they can play amazingly well. They've got the talent across the board. They've got fantastic halfbacks who can create magical things and exciting outside backs. It's just they don't seem to be able to pull that together for a full 80, or in this case a full 40 minutes. You know, they were competing really well, and it seems that they conceded a couple of tries and they switch off a little bit. They struggle to refocus once they've conceded tries, and then that's where, like we saw in the Catalan game, it was really tight for 65 minutes, and then it ended up a blow-away score because they just can't quite seem to turn it on once they've conceded a couple of points.
And it's something that's been with them in their DNA for a few years now, isn't this, at Warrington?
It is, and it is a bit of a worry. That's where, they're in a tight game and you feel, and then, they give away penalty for being offside now and again. Like I said before, a massive coach killer that you need a reaction after you've conceded a few points back to back. So they've tried to bring that intensity in defence. They've managed to just get a little bit ahead of the referee and a penalty for offside, which is going to put Leeds in fantastic field position here just on the 40.
Well, 5 minutes to half time, and Leeds might put themselves almost in an unassailable position if they can score again here. 16 points the lead, so already Warrington have to score 3 times. Oh, that was a knock-on by Leeming, quite clear knock-on. He's pointing at Daryl Clark, who's on the floor, as if he got in his way, but it's just a plain mistake from Leeming. So Warrington get a bit of respite here. Head and feet at the scrum. Referee Jack Smith just doing a little bit of explanation to Cruz Leeming. You wouldn't have thought he needed to. That was quite obvious, wouldn't it? Maybe it was about something else. Yeah,
possibly a couple of seasons ago, we had that contentious rule where anything around the ruck was often given as a penalty. So there was a couple of hookers who were playing for penalties at times when there was plays in and around the ruck. But luckily we've changed that a little bit now, and it was just an error. And Warrington, I think, will be very relieved now to have the ball back.
4 minutes and a half remaining. Warrington in possession, but deep inside their own half. Daryl Clark's trying to dance away from the attentions of Matt Pryor. But Pryor's there to make sure, and Clark has, well, I think he was hurt earlier, and well, he's going to get a penalty here. The referee belatedly is giving the penalty for Warrington for a high shot. Presumably got a word from either the video referee or one of his touch judges, and Daryl Clark needs a bit of treatment. He's the last player Warrington would want to lose at this stage.
Absolutely. I mentioned full bench of forwards. I'm not too sure who'd be looking to jump in if we did have to lose Daryl Clark at this stage, but he's on his knees, he looks like he's doing okay. Physio just checking him out, obviously player welfare being paramount in this situation, but he's looking okay there, just standing up onto his feet now, so luckily he'll be fine to carry on.
Yep, he's okay. George Williams waiting patiently to kick this ball to touch. Jack Smith just making sure that all personnel are clear of the field that shouldn't be on there, and here we go. Doctor was on the field, and it's the non-negotiable now, isn't it? If the doctor's on the field, the game stops, and it can't restart till the doctor's gone off. Anyway, it has restarted now. Penalty out of play. Tap restart has seen Ollie Holmes take Warrington to within about 35 metres of where they want to be, and further advancement here. Little bounce on the ground by Kyle Amor. Oh, it's a scruffy pass from Clark. It's a knock-on. He's complaining that Pryor was in his face. Well, Pryor had every right to be in his face. That's what defenders do. And it was a knock-on, and Leeds get cheap possession back again. Pryor did really well there, didn't he?
He did. Pryor just at marker there and puts real pressure on Daryl Clark as he tries to jump out from dummy half. Basically just tackles around his arm and forces that knock-on. Trying to contest there, I think, to say that his hands around the ball, but really it was just a really great defensive read from Pryor to put pressure on Daryl Clark and force that error.
So Leeds have it back 20 metres from their own line. 2.5 minutes to go to half-time, and Leeds trying to advance in the closing minutes of this half, which they have, the scoreline will tell you, dominated, but it's that burst of scoring between the 27th and the 32nd minute that has made all the difference just at the moment to this game. And Leeds are coming again here. Donaldson threatening, just as a big arm put around him by Ollie Holmes. Peter Matortia has stayed down injured as well. Leeds are rampaging forward. They're making a bit of yardage here with each of the carries. Leeming picks up, looks inside, looks to try and beat the two defenders who are standing behind the ruck, looking appealingly at the referee. Were they square, ref? Well, the ref's going to stop the game now because Peter Matortia is getting some treatment, and even though he's behind the play, the doctor's on the field, so that's why we're stopping. And Leeds, when it restarts, will only be 25 metres. They're making a lot of yards at the moment, aren't they?
They are. That was a brilliant set from Leeds. The forwards really just punching in behind the ruck, causing loads of problems for that Warrington defence. And Peter Matortia, I think, possibly just got his head in the wrong place there, trying to make a tackle on Donaldson, who made a little bit of a half break there. I think Donaldson's played really well since he's come on the field. I like to see Donaldson do well. I think he's had a bit of trouble with injuries in the past and in and out of sides with selection, but I think he's just one of those players who's a workhorse and really does give everything for his team. So it's great to see him having a good game today. And Lee's now just getting ready, taking a little bit of breath, whilst Peter Matortia gets some attention on field for that little bit of a head knock that he took.
Yeah, I think he lobbed up at Leeds and for a trial, didn't he, James Donaldson, without a contract, and just played to win himself a contract, and then got a Challenge Cup winners medal a couple of years ago. So
yeah,
you've got to admire that kind of. He's a Cumbrian, isn't he?
He is.
He's got that Cumbrian spirit.
Yeah, I actually have played with his sister. His sister was a fantastic rugby league player for England, also in the forward. So great to see him doing well.
No look pass by Myler, and Sutcliffe is chopped down as play continues because Matortia is off the field, and Leeds with Pryor. Pryor's looking to offload, carrying that ball one-handed, three defenders hanging off him, and eventually he goes down, and I think that was the last, was it? Is it? No, it's Warrington. Yeah, it was. Handover, Warrington have it back. But look where they are, a yard away from their own line again.
Yeah, and again they were really close to putting points on the board there. Matt Pryor managing, even with three Warrington defenders hanging off him, to get an arm free and almost getting that ball down, so they'll be happy with turning the ball over there.
Here's Curry looking to travel, looking to rip through that Warrington Leeds defence, but 30 metres out he's dragged down, back towards the middle. Clark to Amor just strains up and thuds himself forward. 40 out, one leg lifted up, helps just to spin him to the ground. Clark's arms outstretched, want to carry on. 47 seconds of the half remaining. Last set for Warrington in this first half. Curry to King. King now trying to ride the tackles. Put down 35 away. Wants to get up and play it. Couple of tackles left at least here. Will they get them? Yes, they will, because there's over 30 seconds. Williams pops it back to Widdop. Widdop now. Magulius, who tries to flick and does. Widdop picks the ball up off the floor. Warrington are chancing their arm. They have to. Clark runs into trouble, tackle, 20 out, last play. Magulius picks up, throws it back towards the middle. Williams now carries it towards the line, puts a kick in, but you could see the cover was there. It was a real poor kick, wasn't it? Didn't give Leeds any troubles, and they have it back. Austin dropped on it. Last play of the game, because the hooter will sound. The referee blows his whistle, and listen to that. Listen to that. I think the groans from the Warrington fans tell their own story there, Jodie.
Yeah, just frustration. Frustration is the key word for Warrington fans and probably Warrington players, and no doubt Darryl Powell as well. Just with his team's inability to be a bit more concise, I suppose, in the opening 10 minutes, and then really to be able to bounce back and defend when there's a bit of an onslaught from Leeds. They weren't able to really break those strides, and have now gone in 20 points to 4 when arguably for 30 minutes of the game they were well in contention.
Absolutely. Before that burst of scoring, 4-4 up till the 27th minute. David Fusitua for Leeds, Matty Ashton for Warrington, but then that electrifying burst. Cruz Leeming, Zach Hardacre, James Donaldson, the try scorers on the back of some electrifying play by Leeds. Martin's kicked a couple of goals, which means at half-time in this game, it is Warrington 4, Leeds 20.
This is 5 Live Rugby League on 5 Live Sports Extra.
So second half commentary to come. We'll be staying on 5 Live Sports Extra, but we'll also be joined by Radio 5 Live as well a little bit later. But we're going to listen to the podcast in just a moment. But as always, Super League Show will have highlights of this game and all the others from round 14. The first viewing on the BBC iPlayer from 7 o'clock on Monday night. And for the traditionalists, it's on BBC One at 11:10, at 1 p.m. on Tuesday lunchtime over on BBC Two. And your weekly offering of the 5 Live Rugby League podcast is available to download and listen to from BBC Sounds every Wednesday. This week, we got together with Kyle Amor, John Keir and Matt Newsom in the aftermath of the Challenge Cup final, which was, of course, a triumph for Wigan, and head coach Matt Peat, who Amor says has similarities with one of his former coaches at St Helens.
He almost reminds me of the work Justin Holbrook did, you know, when he got to us in 2018. You know, we had to go through periods of losing big games. You know, remember that, we can all remember that Luke Gale's drop goal that managed to, you know, not let Saints through into the grand final. 2019 losing the Challenge Cup final. We had to lose 2 big games with a group of players that were almost ready for the next step, and I believe at Wigan Warriors they've got that. I think they've got a lot of kids now who have been exposed to these big games and have felt the heartache and felt the pain of losing those, you know, added into that with some box office players and some, you know, I know he's not a new signing, he was there last year, but he arguably is a Jay Field, he is almost like a new signing. And when you put those players in, and I think what the Wigan club have done tremendously well is they've gone with someone internal like Matty Peat, and basically what he's done, he's created this sort of narrative, this story, this reconnection with the town through the work he done in pre-season, getting the clubs and getting the players out there to reconnect with the town and build this togetherness, you know, this almost he's basically got a group of 30 young men, hungry men as well, off those losses that I've mentioned, and he's got them all to buy into something. And I think now in the modern day with you know, access to GPS and sports science, you know, physically everybody's at that level now. There's not really too much difference between, you know, the top 4 or 5 clubs in terms of player fitness, but what he's done is he's been able to sort of get them to mentally buy into a concept where, you know, and once you get buy-in from players, it takes you anywhere. And I've seen that firsthand with Justin Holbrook and what he's done for our town. And I think with a couple of quality additions in, you know, for Wigan at the end of this season, I predict a period of dominance for the Wigan Warriors.
Yeah, and that's the stars aligning, Dave. You know, we said about the pick Matty Peat from that, but, you know, Adrian Lamb might be looking at this and be thinking, well, what would have happened last year if I'd have had Field and French available to me? But he didn't. Yeah. And that's what happens in sport. And the stars have aligned. It's taking that opportunity to tremendously well, and it's all credit to him, but also to his players as well.
Has anybody, I mean, we've got a World Cup at the end of the year, and we're all looking forward to that, 3 World Cups. And this is a big game, you know, this is where mettle is tested, isn't it, for key players. So I'm going to throw Harry Smith, for example. Has Harry Smith made a big bid to be included in Sean Wayne's squad now because of the way he played today?
I'm not so sure about that. You know, I look at Harry Smith and, you know, an opportunity's opened up through the absence of Luluai, hasn't it? And, you know, while today, you know, he came up with some brilliant moments, you know, take nothing away from him, you just look back to he still has that inconsistency about him for me. I think, you know, I watched the highlights back of the Hull FC defeat, and, you know, there was a lot of bad traffic around him on a number of those tries. And, you know, while games like this is where it really, really matters, I get that, I understand that. But for me, if you're talking about an international player, you have to be showing consistency right throughout the season to really push the usual suspects out of a position.
Who are the usual suspects at the moment?
Well, there's Widdop.
Williams.
Yeah,
he's been playing at full-back at Warrington. Williams has not been brilliant at Warrington.
And if they don't pick Johnny Lomax...
Johnny Lomax.
Johnny Lomax is the best half-back. That's the top and bottom of it. Yeah. So he's got to be playing. And I hope they don't pick Harry Smith because he can play for Wales because his granddad's Welsh. so there's a vested interest there, Woodsy.
Yeah, I mean, look... You know, ultimately, if he's playing at a club that's winning trophies and at a club that finds the way at the top of the league at the end of the year and gets into grand finals, then, you know, we're only sort of 12 rounds into a 27 round season, so there's still plenty of time to go. You know, if he can really sort of nail that down and kick on from there, it'd be interesting how they use Luluai over the next couple of weeks when he starts coming back. You know, obviously he made an appearance today as well, and, you know, terrific for him being one of the older statesmen in the game to get his hands on another trophy. He's been a wonderful servant to the club.
Tui Lolohea, you'd think he's almost certain to play for Tonga in the World Cup. Jay Field, there was talk of him having Irish heritage, wasn't there? But I think he's denied that, hasn't he? He said,
oh, has he?
No. Kyle Amor's far more Irish than I am. So, it would be great to see Jay Field in a World Cup.
Sure would.
I mean, Matt, he ain't going to get in he's not going to be the Australian fullback, is he?
No, I mean, there's going to be some unhappy Australian fullbacks. You know, you've got Pappenhausen. It looks as though Trbojevic is done, isn't he? He might not play. You've got James Tedesco, last time played for Italy. You know, so yeah, he unfortunately for Jay, he's kind of at the back of quite a prolific queue, isn't he? So, but yeah, he is the kind of player that you want to see at a World Cup. He's going to bring X factor galore, isn't he? You know, it took a great tackle to bring him down, but I mean, he gets people on their feet. And,
of course he does. Yeah. Ultimately, you just want to see the best players in the world playing in the World Cup, don't you?
Correct.
And however that looks, you know, if a door's shut in terms of selection on one team and you're eligible to go for another, then why not? You know what I mean? It's you know, it's an opportunity, a fantastic occasion, a World Cup on home soil. It'll be brilliant and well backed and supported.
Yeah, we've got a magic weekend to come. We've got a grand final to come, but that World Cup is looming large now. Yeah. And that first game for England, and I know I'm talking to the Wales coach here, John Keir, so forgive me, but that first game, England-Samoa at Newcastle, for so many reasons, is going to be massive.
It is, because that Samoan team is going to be a pretty special team.
Yeah.
There's lots of Samoan heritage players who are putting their hand up and want to travel to the Northern Hemisphere to play in this World Cup, and England will have to be on the ball, to be able to beat them, because they are a very, very good team indeed. And we as Wales, unfortunately, in the Tonga PNG Cook Island group, and it's the Tonga one that I'm sort of looking at and thinking, wow, because when I look at the players available to Tonga, you just think this team could win it. Yeah. Honestly, they could win it. They could beat Australia and they could beat England and go away with the World Cup.
Well, the record is, you know, they're better than Australia, because the last time they played, they beat Australia. And it's a few years ago now, and that's an Australian team in transition, obviously. But I mean, that's the refreshing thing, isn't it, Matt? I'll bring you on this. The refreshing thing. Every tournament we've had since 1954, when maybe France were, you know, a power, but every tournament since then, it's been England or Great Britain, whatever guys they're under, New Zealand or Australia. This time, genuinely, we could have a Samoa or a Tonga in the final, and that's brilliant for rugby league.
Yeah, and I know they've got an awful long way to go as well, but I mean, you can chuck Fiji in there as well. I mean, who've been semi-finalists. I think it's like 3 tournaments in a row. And yeah, it's going to be tough for them to probably get over a Tonga or a Samoa, but they've got the bulk, they've got the size. I mean, you've got Makasibo at Parramatta, you've got even Jason Gary's been called in from Castleford. So you know, I mean, you're right. I think the big thing for the Northern Hemisphere teams is going to be matching that size across the board. There's some big boys, aren't there, who are going to be coming over, and you sort of look at England, even England at times, you think, they're going to be put through the middle.
Well, they've got William Kickow, haven't they? The Penrith back row as well.
Huge.
On the left side. So good luck to the right side defence against him.
I just think it's fantastic, isn't it? We're now in a position now where a World Cup final, you know, it's almost you know, it could be one of 6 teams who end up in a World Cup final, and that's where the game's sort of grown. You know, with those sort of Pacific Islanders more and more playing in the NRL. You know, more Papua New Guineans playing there. There's talk about perhaps they're looking at a club in Papua New Guinea, aren't they, for the NRL when they have a look. You know, it's fantastic stuff. We always talk about how, you know, in this country we'd love the idea of expanding the game. We've seen it in Toulouse, in Catalan, we've tried Toronto and Wales and London and whatnot. But, you know, globally, if we're expanding it as well, it's only going to make for an even better and more, you know, exciting tournament at the end of the year.
Yeah, and Papua New Guinea, you're facing, obviously beat Great Britain. The last game they played was beat Great Britain, and that's a rare achievement, but that wasn't because of the hostile environment, it wasn't because of the incredible heat, it was because on the day they were better than Great Britain.
Exactly right, and that's exactly as Kyle said there. We need that, we absolutely need that at the international game, so that it isn't which two teams from 3 are getting to the final. You know, we need it where it's genuine right the way through the competition, and I think this time we can, and that's why I think this year is going to be a great year. With Challenge Cup final, epic. Let's hope the grand final's the same, and I'm sure the World Cup tournament will be an epic one, and it really could help us as a game.
Yeah. What is Wales' aim
from that tournament?
Well, they haven't won a game in the World Cup since 2000. So it was that long when they nearly knocked Australia out for 60 minutes.
Semi-final.
Yeah, they're as good as us,
and all that.
And they haven't won a game since then. So although we've qualified for World Cups, we haven't nailed a game. So that's what we're going to try and do. We're hoping that it's going to hammer it down. It's going to be freezing, and all the Papua New Guineans want to go home, and we'll just sneak a 2-0 win, and that'll do me. I'll tell you.
Ireland's pedigree. Are you hands up for Ireland this year?
I'm not sure yet. Do you know what I mean? I've not had a phone call, so I'm not sure how. I don't know when these decisions are made or whatever. But you know, for me, I've just got to get on with me getting back and doing something at Warrington first. Yeah. But going back to what John said there, you know, we speak about in football about in a World Cup how there's always a group of death. Now, when John's just read them teams out for Wales, if there is a group of death in the Rugby League World Cup, well, this man here, he's in charge of his side in that group. But well, that must be it must be exciting though, John, as well, right?
Yeah, it is. Of course it is. I mean, you know, we're going to be conscious mainly of Championship or League One players, and for them to go on a stage against some of the best players in the world who feature regularly in the NRL, they shouldn't be frightened of it. They should see it as a great opportunity, and one that can tell the kids and the grandkids about, I played against so and so, and I gave them as good as I got.
So what do you say to them players then in the dressing room?
Well, that's exactly what we're going to say. You know, you've got a great opportunity. Go out there and make them take notice of you, and you know about them, but at the end of the 80 minutes, make sure they know about you.
There you go, John Keir, finishing off that excerpt from this week's podcast. I don't think I've ever had a conversation with John Keir when he's not been passionate about something. He's always a very passionate person. Anyway, there we go. That is available to download, as it will be every week, as it is every week, the 5 Live Rugby League podcasts, and some of our recent ones are up there as well. The Tackle the Tough Stuff one we did about 2 or 3 weeks ago, if you've not heard that, then I would particularly recommend that. Peter Matortia amongst those, talking about their mental health problems, talking about some of the incredible things that they've had to face up to in their lives, but it's still up there, and how they get through that, and how they get focused on the way their life has to go since. So, recommend it. We recommend everything on 5 Live. Oh, right, as always, Super League show, highlights of the games this weekend. To remind you, coming up this weekend, that is Monday night on the BBC iPlayer from 7 o'clock, BBC One at 11 or 10, and repeated on BBC Two at 1 p.m. on Tuesday lunchtime. So that's all to look forward to as well. As I said, we're going to be joined by our colleagues on Radio 5 Live very shortly here, but at half-time we're still getting entertained. Always good at half-time entertainment at Warrington. We've had Wizzy Rascal back on the field, much to everybody's amusement. And we've also had a race between two people bedecked in rather garish green outfits, which look rather cumbersome, but I'm not sure what that was all about. But it finished in one of them won, the other one didn't, as races often happen. Half-time here, it's Warrington 4, Leeds 20. Remember, David Fusitua, early scorer for Leeds, Matty Ashton getting one back for Warrington midway through that first half, but after that, Leeds just absolutely exploded with points scoring. Cruz Leeming, Zach Hardacre, James Donaldson with 3 tries in 5 minutes, and that's why Warrington are trailing against Leeds by 20 points to 4, and Catalan 8, Huddersfield 18 is a latest score in Perpignan as well. So we're going to be hearing from our colleagues on 5 Live very shortly, but we're already here for the start of the second half. Both teams down there waiting to see what happens. Hello and welcome to the Halliwell Jones Stadium. It's Warrington against Leeds in the Betfred Super League here tonight. Second half about to get underway. We've had a really fascinating first half. Half-time, Warrington 4, Leeds 20 is the scoreline. It was nip and tuck for 20-odd minutes. 4 points apiece. David Fusitua with an early try for Leeds. Matty Ashton with one back for Warrington. But then Leeds with 3 tries in 5 minutes. Cruz Leeming, Zach Hardacre, James Donaldson just ripping the heart out of the Warrington defence, and that's why we have a half-time score here of 4 points to 20. One other game taking place tonight as well in Perpignan. That's a much earlier kick-off. They're deep into the second half there. Catalan 14, Huddersfield 18 is the latest score, and that's quite a comeback because Catalan were trailing 18-0 at one stage, but Huddersfield defeated in the Challenge Cup final last week, just in danger of being overhauled. Catalan 14, Huddersfield 18. We're ready for the second half here at St Helens, and England international Jodie Cunningham alongside us as well. Jodie, what have you made of the first half here so far tonight?
Well, it started explosively well. I think both sides, end-to-end stuff, really throwing the ball around, and a tight game, like you say, right up until 20-odd minutes, and then it was Leeds who really turned on the magic, got 3 brilliant tries in the space of 5 minutes, and you just saw Warrington look a little bit defeated towards the back end of that half. I think half-time is exactly what they needed. I'm sure Darryl Powell will have been getting everybody together, getting them all riled up, motivated, and telling them that they need to come out with a difference at the start of this half. So they'll be wanting to get points on the board first here, and I think it'll be important that Warrington get the first try of this half.
Because they do have that little bit of a reputation, don't they, Warrington? When they start losing, when it just starts slipping away, they don't always have the wherewithal to claw themselves back into a game.
Yeah, they just struggle once they start conceding a few points. They then start to leak more and more. Hopefully today won't be one of those days and they'll manage to pull this back and make it a close game. But we'll see how they start this second half now. Well,
second half underway. We will be getting updates from the tennis as well. Russell Fuller with us over at Roland Garros. So we will be getting updates there. But right now we're focusing on this game. Leeds. New coach, of course, Rowan Smith took over from Richard Agar. He's had 2 games in charge. He lost the first one at Salford, but he won the second one at Wakefield. And they're looking to just get themselves back on a grand final trail here, if they can, after an indifferent start to the season. But Warrington looking to pull themselves back into contention here. They're not out of the grand final running if they can get some form on the board as well. Donaldson for Leeds, tracking back towards the middle. He's put down just short of the 40-metre mark. But here comes the last tackle. Austin puts the kick up in the air. Matty Ashton, the Warrington winger, is back almost on his own goal line to collect it and just looks at a wall of Leeds players running at him. And Warrington have to start from there, Jodie. It's a difficult position.
Great first set for Leeds, and yeah, a difficult start to the second half for Warrington now, having to work off that back line, really having to dig in now forwards, taking the ball away with this real set Leeds defence that have been really strong all game.
Matortia for Warrington takes it up to the 30-metre mark. He went off with a head assessment injury, didn't he, in the first half, so he's clearly all clear. As it's taken forward again to within 10 metres of the halfway line. Darryl Clark picking up at the feet of his teammate as it's moved towards that right hand side, 10 metres inside Leeds territory, but 1 play to go. Holmes scoops it. It's a high pass that bounces on the floor over the head of its intended target. Ratchford, the fullback, is the man who collects it and just makes something out of nothing with a kick downfield, which is caught on the bounce by Fussatua, who runs back really strong. He's had a difficult start, hasn't he, Fussatua, to his Leeds career, because he's had 1 or 2 injuries, but he looks a big athlete, doesn't he, in full flight?
Yeah, he's had a couple of injuries and yeah, a bit of a stop-start to his Leeds career, but it looks like he's in full flight today. He's looked really strong, really confident under the high ball, really challenging that Warrington defence. So hopefully, yeah, seeing him back at his best.
Here's Pryor for Leeds, driving it in just over the 40. Leeming, little nod of his head as he ranges into dummy half to collect the ball at the feet of his big forward, and Austin running in. It just looked to be slipping and losing his feet, which made him an easy tackle. 30 away, last play. Myler puts it up in the air. Widdop comes advancing, the Warrington fullback. He leaps well and takes it superbly well, and Warrington start 10 metres from their own line here. But work to do again. They've had to do it all from deep, haven't they?
They have. Leeds, you know, it was a good kick. It was a great take from Gareth Widdop, but again, they're starting with the ball 10 metres from their own goal line and having to work really hard to make yardage upfield. Leeds are playing really smart rugby and then really taking advantage when they get their opportunities.
There was a good offload there from Toby King, which has just given Warrington a bit more advancement. 12 metres short of the halfway line. Mulhern with his big hair bouncing on the top of his head as he drives it in, just short of the halfway. Darryl Clark picks up, comes left. There's Ratchford just waiting to get that pass, and eventually does as it moves left to King, and King surrounded by defenders, so seeks the middle again, and they're just driving it in now through Joe Bullock, and Warrington advancing to within 30 metres of that Leeds line, I should say, so just beginning to offer some promise, but they're running out of tackles, because here comes the last. Williams, his right boot, flicks it up in the air. He's not been kicking superbly well today, hasn't George Williams? That's one of his strong armories, one of his best parts of his game, but it's been off, and Handley catches that easy as Leeds bring it out again.
Warrington made great progress upfield there, seeing as what they started with the ball 10 metres from their own goal line, to then turn the ball over 10 metres from Leeds goal line is a great set from them. But like you say, George Williams not quite there, not being quite as clinical as we have seen with his kicking game. You know, I'm not one to talk, I've not got the best of kicking games myself, so I'm sure it's much harder than what it looks, but it's just a little bit off, it seems, and Leeds possibly getting the edge in that respect.
Warrington give away a penalty. Zach Hardacre with a little low five with Cruz leaning in response to getting that penalty just inside their own half. So Blake Austin wants of this parish, wants a Warrington hero, kicks it out of play, and a tap restart will see Leeds starting 10 metres inside that Warrington half. Rhys Martin, the Papua New Guinean international, driving on, marching on together from the Leeds fans at the far end, suddenly springs into life with that song. And it's their side who are looking the most promising at the moment. There's a kind of a muttering of discontent from Warrington fans all around us. Leeming, left, Myler, back to the middle again. Austin coming on at speed, switches it back into the hands of Matt Pryor. Pryor's put down illegally, little high. The referee just signals to his head to say that was a high tackle. So a penalty 10 metres out here. Kick for goal or roll on here?
I think they're playing with confidence, it looks like. I'm not sure, they might be going for two now. I thought they were going to play for that one, but they've signalled there that they're going to take the 2 points. Possibly just keep it calm, keep the scoreboard ticking over. Not a terrible decision. I think they're playing with confidence. I'm sure they would have been quite happy to tap that one there as well, but just a little bit of fatigue possibly, or a little bit of lax defensiveness there from the Warrington line, and I think that just comes from Leeds are really moving the forwards around in the Warrington pack there, and it's starting to be a little bit lazy with some of these high tackles, just trailing arms that are catching the Leeds players high, and if they do continue in that way, they are going to keep giving ball away. They're going to have to do repeat defensive sets, and it's going to get even tougher for this Warrington team.
Well, Leeds aren't complaining. Rhys Martin, there's a mathematical significance to this as well, because if he puts it over, that's an 18-point lead, and he does put it over. Confident enough to say that even before the flags go up, because it was right in front of the sticks. But 14-22 means that 3 tries, 3 goals from Warrington would nearly put them level, and edging Leeds towards a 4-score lead if they can get more points here. And you'd rather fancy them to get more points here, wouldn't you? Just the way the game is at the moment.
The way they're playing, yeah, you wouldn't put that past Leeds now. They look like they're really coming together as a squad, and they've looked really strong today. But equally, I don't think you can write Warrington off like we saw in that first game. They managed to come back from what looked like a strong Leeds performance and put real points on the board, and they've got talent. They've got the likes of Matty Ashton, who can score a try from nowhere, so I don't think we can write Warrington off, but they really do need to start controlling the defence, and they're putting some real strong hits in here, so maybe this is the start of it.
Doesn't take much to change momentum. We've seen that many times down the years. Leeds built their own momentum with those 3 tries in the first half, so Warrington need to replicate that, but Leeds in the meantime in control. It's Catalan 14, Huddersfield 22, and Chris McQueen, the Lance Todd Trophy winner at the weekend, has scored his second try, and Leeds are advancing with Handley down that left-hand side. He's making the break. Ratchford in front of him. The ball is looped back towards the middle. It's collected here by Cameron Smith, who tries to force his way up to the line. He's at the line, but there are enough Warrington defenders to make sure he ain't going to touch the ball down. He's held up in the in-goal area, so Leeds will go back to that 10-metre line and start again here. But they are just playing, Jodie, with so much flow at the moment, aren't they, Leeds?
Yeah, they are, and Sutcliffe I've been really impressed with. I think he's done his job really well in that left centre position, finding Ash Handley on that occasion, and a real great break from Leeds. Here
they go again. It's Handley who cuts in from that left wing, and he's right in the centre of the field, offloads. Austin makes up with a flick over the top. Oh, they're playing like basketball at the moment, and perhaps we're a little over elaborate there, because Matt Pryor has thrown the ball away, and Warrington get it back again. To some relief And now Warrington are trying to go wide early in this play as well, but Williams just has his ankles grabbed from behind by Richie Myler, and he's put down on that 20-metre mark. They're both playing it a bit here.
Yeah, I'm surprised with a couple of those passes from Leeds, and I don't know whether it was necessarily needed at that point in time. I'm sure Rowan Smith will be getting a message on to just calm things down a little bit. They're looking good, they're looking strong, they don't need to start throwing some daft passes around, but Warrington will be relieved to have this ball back now, and they're looking like they're progressing upfield really, really well and starting to shift the ball around.
Here's Curry, 40 metres away from the Leeds line when he's put down. Warrington again looking quite wide with that play. Kyle Amor now, here from St Helens till the end of the season. The prop forward, the veteran prop forward, probably his last year in the top flight. Williams, 20 out, just prods the kick over, and that is desperately poor from George Williams, because the ball just flies out of play. He was trying to put a kick up to put Leeds under pressure, and he's like a golfer with the yips at the moment, isn't he? He can't put them in from 6 inches at the moment.
Yeah, I think it was an attacking kick there, so looking to try and find the edges there and put Leeds under pressure, but too much on it, and it goes straight into touch. And for me, I think they need to look a little bit more around putting the ball along the floor, trying to turn Leeds around and work on field position rather than necessarily going for some of these attacking kicks. Work on trying to pin Leeds down in this area, because now it's been easy field position and they're starting on the 30 and now progressing past the 40 already.
And again, through several pairs of hands with each play, Leeds. Fusitua tackled just short of the halfway line. Leeming picks up and will have a go. He's thrown the ball backwards. There's some untidiness. They've given it away, Leeds. Cooper. And now it's with Holmes, so Warrington have it back, and again you just sense with Leeds an overconfidence there.
Yeah, overplaying there, not necessary from Leeds. They just turned the ball over, good field position, and then I think it might have been Cruz Lehman who tried to force an offload that was then picked up and dove on really well by Ollie Holmes.
But they've recovered in defence, because as Warrington go wide, Matortia's caught in possession, and Leeds defenders come over in the numbers, and they put him out of play, and they will get the ball back here. Head and feed at the scrum. So Warrington 4, Leeds 22. Let's get the latest on the tennis, the French Open. Russell Fuller.
Casper Ruud has won the second semi-final, 3-6, 6-4, 6-2, 6-2 against Marin Cilic. The 8th seed, the 23-year-old, is Norway's first Grand Slam finalist. So he'll play his first on Sunday against Rafael Nadal, who'll be in a Grand Slam final for the 30th time.
Thanks, Russell. Here it remains Warrington 4, Leeds 22. Full time, by the way, in Perpignan. Catalan 14, Huddersfield 22. That's a heck of a response by Huddersfield, having been beaten the way they were in the Challenge Cup final last week. And saying the way they lost a really dramatic game, and I think most neutral observers thought they were probably the best team. So for them to bounce back, travel to Perpignan and win against a very good Catalan suggests that they're in for a heck of a season from here on in. Warrington backs to the wall here, because Leeds just beginning to press again here. Cam Smith threatening to make a break, just has his ankles taken again, and Leeming goes out of dummy half with a bit of flash and brilliance. The ball's stolen off him, it's then been lost, and the referee's got a decision to make here. Is this a knock-on for Warrington? Was there a ball steal in the first place, or what's your interpretation of this, Jodie?
Well, the ball did come free. It was a fantastic last-ditch tackle, and it looked, I mean, in that position, that close to the line, with Cruz Lehman's attacking to try and get that ball over, the only thing you can do is cover that ball, and it has come free, and it looks as though it's a Warrington ball. So they've given that as a knock on there, but again, brilliant play from Cruz Lehman. I think he had a fantastic first half, and he's looking really strong at the start of this second half as well. 13 minutes of the second half played. Warrington coming out here. Leeds defence is looking really, really mean and moody at the moment. 3 defenders coming in and keeping Amor's advance to an absolute minimum. Ashton now, the winger, the nippy winger, is running across the line to see if he can try and sidestep through a gap, but there's none there. The ball's lost. The referee says lost, not stolen. Leeds get head and feet at the scrum, 20 metres out from this Warrington line. Matty Ashton there, I think he's just trying to get a quick play of the ball. You know, your job there as an outside back is to carry forward, find your front, get a quick play of the ball. And sometimes when you're trying to play it quickly and these bodies around, and I think it was Tetevanu who had hands on the ball there as Matty Ashton's just trying to play it quickly, and he ends up losing possession. And this is a real dangerous position in the field, just centre field, 15 metres out from the Warrington line, and Leeds are in a brilliant position.
Leeming picks up at the back of the scrum. Austin gets the pass away. Here's Hardacre, the fullback, gets away from King's attentions, but two more Warrington players come diving in. Key moment here, 26 minutes to play. Leeds dominating, 22 for the scoreline. Score again and Warrington's task becomes all the harder. Austin again, just offers it back on the inside to Pryor. Pryor, the Australian, runs it straight, but straight into four defenders. Down he goes. Ratchford looks as though he's got his foot stuck underneath the tackle. Now it comes to the right hand side. Hardacre, well read though by Curry, who comes out quickly and makes that tackle. Hardacre's no option other than to go flat on his back and get up and play the ball. Now it's spun left by Leeds. Austin out to that left hand side. Donaldson comes tracking back towards the middle again, but just attracts defenders. Curry makes the tackle, quickly played. A little pick up and go from Cameron Smith. The ball in the in-goal area bounces around. Widdop collects it for Warrington, runs it clear. Just for a moment there it looked as though there might be a break on from Warrington, but he's upended by Tetevano, and Warrington have to start instead again, Jodie, from very deep inside their own half.
Yeah, Leeds being really inventive there.
Oh, they've knocked on again.
No.
Warrington have knocked on again.
Oh, that's so painful for Warrington when they've just defended that set. Leeds throwing the ball around and Warrington bodies just throwing themselves everywhere trying to defend that set, which they did really well. Gareth Widdop picked the ball up, ran it out, and then on the second phase of the play, they've then made an error in pretty much an identical position as the last one, 15 metres out, middle of the post. And now Leeds have got possession back again, and this is going to be a really tough ask of Warrington here. There's going to be really tired bodies who are going to have to really work hard now.
Handover, Leeds have it 20 metres away from that Warrington line and just piling on the pressure. What a big win this would be for new coach Rowan Smith if they see it through. Austin with a pass away, taken in by Bodine Thompson, and he's got over the line, and despite a couple of Warrington defenders there, oh, it looked as though he touched down, and it looked as though the referee was going to give it straight away, but then just got a little bit of a flutter, did Jack Smith, the referee, and thought, you know, we've got the technology, why don't I offer it up? So he says he thinks it's a try on the field, but we're going to the video replay here. Tell you all if this is a try. Leeds are in clover, aren't they?
Yeah, it was nothing spectacular from Leeds. They're just doing the basics really well and then earning the right to play. And it was a simple pass from Blake Austin, strong line from Bodine Thompson, and carries three players over the line, and it looks like it might be a little bit short. I'm not sure whether that ball touches the whitewash there. It's going to be a close call.
And if it does, it kind of falls short, and then the ball's pushed forward a little. Is he going to get penalised for a double movement here?
I think as long as the arm isn't lifted and then moved along, if there's momentum and the body rolls the ball forward, I think he'll be okay on this one, but I'm not quite sure the ball touches the line.
No, while he's short, the tackle's complete, then the arm comes up, there's a little roll, and maybe the ball does touch the line after the roll. I tell you what, I bet Jack Smith's looking at this and thinking, I'm glad I didn't give this try, and I went to the video replay, because it is, well, it's not a try, is it?
No, it doesn't look to be. It was a great effort from Bodine Thompson, and I think it might be Ratchford who just manages to keep hold of that ball carrying arm just enough so that it's short. It must be millimetres short, but great effort both in attack and defence there. It looks like it's going to be a no try, but they're looking at this from a few different angles, so not a clear-cut one.
Well, I think they're just deciding, aren't they, whether it's a penalty for a double movement or whether it's... Was that the sixth tackle? Is this going to be a handover? Well, we're looking again. And we've looked at the same angle about 5 times, 6 times, which is why you can hear the fans in the background getting a little frustrated by this. But the view goes on. I hope the next shot we see... Oh, here we go. Video referee decision. So here we go. We're waiting for this, and no try. Well, we told them that, and I think everybody else in the ground knew that about 5 minutes ago. But then it's what comes next. And the referee, is given a double movement, I think. And it's a penalty for Warrington. So they get the ball back on their own line, but as it's a penalty, they get a chance to kick out of play and get a bit of yards here. And they'll take every yard they're given, won't they?
They need the yardage here. They need to get themselves into some good field position, and this penalty will be pressure reliever. Nice strong kick from Ratchford there, has got them 30 metres downfield. So it'll be a good strong set for Warrington now. They've had chance. They'll probably be glad of that video ref decision to give them chance to catch the breath after doing multiple defensive efforts on their own line. So they'll be fresh now and wanting to really dig into this Leeds defensive line. 24
minutes to play. Warrington 4, Leeds 22. At the moment, Leeds in the driving seat. Warrington get a try. Suddenly there's a potential shift in momentum. But it is a big but at this stage, because Leeds are looking in control. And left it comes. Back down the middle, taken in by Robbie Mulhern. The ball has got away. Matt Davis is involved there as well. Towards that right-hand side to Matortia. Matortia is going to be dragged down inside the 10. There's still a couple of plays to go in this set for Warrington. They're pushing at the Leeds line. Amor tucks the ball underneath his arm. He wants to score on his debut. He'd love to do that. Big Kyle, but he's held up, shrugs off the defender. Last play, now it's spun back. Ratchford out to Curry. Curry, there's numbers there. One of those is King, but there's too many defenders for him to make a real impression. He's dragged down. I mean, Warrington get the consolation of giving the ball away 5 metres from the Leeds line, but they need points on the board.
They do. Great position to turn it over, but like you say, they need to end these good field position sets with points if they're going to try and get something out of this game. The defence now needs to be solid. They need to limit Leeds' momentum upfield, and that's a good first tackle on the back. Nice low play of the ball, so starting off well.
Interesting, Darryl Clark not on the field at the moment for Warrington, and Matt Davis is in that dummy half role. He came on at half-time. He was doing some warming up at half-time, wasn't he, Matt Davis, trying to get him used to that singularly difficult position of bending your back every tackle and delivering the ball to one of your teammates. Some tough tackling going on at the far side. Leeds, I think, thought that it was a little high on Richie Myler. There's no sympathy for Richie Myler in these parts, because he's a former Warrington player, and we all know what sports fans are like when one of their formers turn up. So
yeah. You know what? He's got quite an easy ride today. I don't think they give him too much of a hard time, but that was a really, really strong defensive effort from Cooper. I'm not sure whether the Leeds fans are thinking it might have been a little bit high.
Oh, is the yellow card coming out? What's this all about? It's actually Donaldson, isn't it? Is it Donaldson? The yellow card's coming out. Who is that on the far side? James Donaldson has got a yellow card. He was caught high. What's that all about? Is the referee... He must have said something.
It must be dissent. That's the only thing I can possibly think it might have been for.
Well, what's going on there? Donaldson was caught high, needed a bit of treatment, and then the referee's come across and shown him the yellow card. Whether he thought he was play acting, a bit of gamesmanship. Anyway, he's off. Leeds down to 12 men. 21 minutes to play. Warrington 4, Leeds 22. Just adds another ingredient to the mix. Donaldson's on the side here. He's not gone anywhere. Kick downfield. He's caught by Widdop in the field of play. So he's able to run it out, but the Leeds defence is quickly on him and puts him down. Has he been sin-bin? Was there a card there? The referee told him to get off, but he's standing there with his shirt on the touchline, and you think if he'd been sin-bin, he would have been in a much more passive position.
Yeah, I'm really confused by that, because he would have been sent off field, I would imagine, if he'd received a sin bin in. So unless it was a blood bin, but I can't see any blood either, so I'm not too sure.
Just count the numbers, 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's a break. It's Ashton who's making the break for Warrington, and he's got some zip. Oh, and he's delivered a pass on the inside, and it bounces off the shoulder of Matt Davis. If he'd have caught it, it would have been a try, but he's knocked it on, and it just goes down as yet another Warrington disappointment on a night of disappointments. And Leeds still lead by 22 points to 4 with 20 minutes to play.
Yeah, a little bit of magic from Ashton, which we've seen so many times over the last couple of seasons for Warrington, and he just changes his mind, hesitates, decides to make the pass rather than take on the fullback, and the pass not quite on the money, and Matt Davis unable to take that in. It just bounces off his shoulder, and that's a disappointment from Warrington.
Well, here's the explanation. James Donaldson was shown a green card, misses the next 2 minutes of the game after receiving treatment after a tackle. So that's the new ruling, isn't it? The green card, and off he comes, and that's why he didn't disappear from the touchline. He stayed on the touchline because he's ready to come back onto the field. Jared O'Connor is ready to come on as an interchange player as well, and it remains Leeds in control. Warrington 4, Leeds 22. Leeds progressing down that left-hand side through Pryor. 5 metres inside the Warrington half when he's spun to the ground, gets up and plays it. Back towards the middle again here. Leeds just trying to pick their paths, take themselves downfield. Cam Smith is the man who's come off for Leeds, by the way, with O'Connor coming on. Austin to the right-hand side. Hardacre chimes in from fullback. Reece Martin, who's playing in the centres, can't get beyond Toby King, who drags him down, and Toby King does, well, I was going to say does a good job because he's dragged him out of play, but the referee said no, the tackle was complete, and then you dragged him out of play, so that's a penalty, and it's all going Leeds' way here.
It is, and it's disappointing that from a Warrington perspective, because this is where everybody's then trying to make those extra efforts. They're trying to turn the game, turn the momentum, and that's where you start giving away these little penalties and making errors that you wouldn't usually make because you're trying to compensate, and that's one there from Toby King. The tackle had been complete. Martin was trying to get up and play the ball, and he's then pushed him into touch, and now it's Leeds possession just 20 metres out.
Pressing again. Bodine Thompson put down on tackle 1, 5 metres away from the Warrington line. Brad Dwyer's on the field. Sparks normally fly when he's around. He's such a sharp player out of dummy half. He's going to occupy that position again, close to the line. Milo with a shot, intercepted, and just knocked on by George Williams. It's another of those if only moments for Warrington. If only he'd held on, he might have gone 80 yards to score. Instead, he knocks on, and Leeds get another set of 6.
George Williams, another player with open field in front of him, I think again could see the try line begging and couldn't quite take that ball. I think irrelevant. Leeds has stacked up really well on that left-hand side, looked to have great shape. So I think either way, George Williams had to kill that play. Unfortunately, couldn't take possession, and now Leeds are attacking on this left-hand edge.
And they are going to score. Such a simple finish by Handley. And Warrington defend. Look at that for body language. There are Warrington defenders who have still not moved. Hands on hips. Cannot believe how that had happened, but Handley's over. Warrington are looking desperate. Leeds are looking very good.
It was too easy. It was too easy from a Leeds perspective, that one. It was obviously a scrum off the back of George Williams being unable to take that intercept. They go blindside from the scrum, and it's just a simple 3-on-2, and the hands beat the player, and it's a walk-in and untouched, virtually untouched walk-in, and that's just not good enough from the Warrington defence there. They were set, they had time, and I'm not too sure what went wrong there, but in a world of trouble there, and it's a walk-in.
Well, you talk about scrum plays, and that was a scrum play down the blind side, but the way they caught Warrington so short of numbers, you know, it's scary, like you say, isn't it? It's terrible. Handley scores. He celebrates. Leeds fans are at that end. Quite happy to see that. And Reece Martin with a chance to kick the goal here from the touchline. Warrington are going to make a couple of in fact 3 changes. Magulius, Philbin and Clark all standing on the touchline Kick's been missed by Martin. He's not had a great night with his kicking. He's normally very, very dependable, but 3 out of 6. So 3 changes. Daryl Powell's throwing the dice here, you'd feel. Maybe players coming back quicker than they might have been expected to come back, because something has to change dramatically from Warrington's point of view.
It does. It needs a momentum shift, and like you say, from the body language, you really felt like they needed that, and that's where they're going short here with this kick-off, and it just goes straight into Martin's hands, Rhys Martin's hands there, and now Leeds have the ball straight on the 40, which is not what Warrington will be wanting.
They're gambling, they're desperate, and you should never chase lost money, should you? As a gambler, you've got a feeling there that Warrington were chasing their losses. Here's Blake Austin. That would rub salt into the wounds if he'd have cut through on that occasion, but he didn't. Taking a little around the collarbone as well, I think, but the referee says play on. Here's Pryor trying to push forward. He's looking appealingly at the referee for something or other. Jack Smith's not interested. Pryor gets up and plays the ball off his knees. Dwyer scoots to that right-hand side, makes a half break, holds off another, and he's almost up to the line, Brad Dwyer. 5th tackle, here's the last. Bodine Thompson goes from dummy half. Well, he's touched it down, I think he's touched it down, he has. Tries given, Bodine Thompson. And again, that's desperately poor defending from Warrington to concede a try on their own line from the man who's not used to playing at dummy half, scoring in that position. But Leeds are absolutely romping this now. What a change Rowan Smith seems to be an architect of, because this Leeds side is looking very good at the moment, albeit against a poor Warrington defence.
Bodine Thompson there, again, brilliant strength and great vision, actually, jumping in at dummy half after Brad Dwyer had been caught just a little bit short after a fantastic effort to challenge the Warrington defence. Made a half break just short of the line. Bodine Thompson jumps in there, dummies open side, and goes blindside and uses his strength again, dives low. He's got 2-3 Warrington defenders on him again and manages to get that arm free and just put it down over the line. He wasn't going to be stopped again this time. He was making sure he got that ball over the line, and Warrington will be disappointed. They had the bodies there, they just didn't cover the ball, and you know, it's the basics really when you're on your line. Cover the ball and just make sure, no matter what, that you go over the line with the ball covered, and they had the bodies there to do that, but strength of Bodine Thompson proved too much for them.
Blake Austin has come off the field. Satisfying night from his point of view. Comes back to his old stomping ground. He's very much a part of what is now inevitably going to be a Leeds win. The kick from Rhys Martin is wide again. 3 out of 7 for Rhys Martin, but it doesn't matter because his side are leading by 30 points to 4. Just imagine if he had his kicking boots on tonight.
Yeah, I think Warrington will be glad. It makes that scoreline look a little bit more respectable for them. And you know, you mentioned Brad Dwyer's name as soon as he came on the field. I think he's been electric, and he always brings that change of pace when he comes on the field, and straight away he challenged them, and really that try came off the back of his great effort.
One consolation for Warrington is that there's not as many fans booing them at the moment, but the downside of that fact is that's because a lot of fans have gone. There's a lot of people leaving here, aren't there? 11 minutes to go.
Yeah,
space is appearing.
This is what we spoke about. It's that inability of Warrington to be able to bounce back when they lose that momentum and they start to concede points. They tend to let the game run away from them, and that's what the fans are probably not wanting to see the end of. They don't want to see any more points conceded by Warrington, so we are seeing quite a few fans leaving at this stage.
Dwyer out of dummy half, Leeming's still there as well. Here comes a push by Cam Smith in that right second rower's position. He's 5 metres short of the halfway line, back towards the middle. Leeming goes scampering towards the centre of the pitch. Myler throws a long pass out there to Sutcliffe. Sutcliffe offers it inside to Handley. Handley's dashing and dancing and darting around, and when he is caught, he still gets the pass away. And Leeds finally are tackled 10 metres inside that Warrington half. This is Jared O'Connor, directly in front of the sticks, but 30 metres away. Dwyer skips it left. Myler back towards the middle. Hardacre's finding a bit of room in which to run here. Hands grasping on him. He's got to flick away when the tackle came in, and Leeming carries it on. Fussy Tour on the right hand side. There were 3 defenders coming across. He gave them the sidestep and reached over to score, and it's a terrific finish by Fussy Tour. But again, you would not want to be in the video analysis room when Daryl Powell is doing the defensive work next Monday, or whenever that might be, because Warrington's defence again is found woefully short.
Daryl Powell will not be a happy man at this stage. It looks too easy for Leeds at this point. You know, especially in the middle, they're really moving Warrington's middles around, and they don't seem to be able to cope with it at the minute. And that's where they're getting the joy, and people are out of position, not quite moving up on the opposite side of the ruck, which means that there's space for Leeds to play in, ship the ball around, and then, yeah, fantastic effort there for Satua on that sideline. He looked like he had no room, and then right foot step back inside to score the points for Leeds. And yeah, it's getting a little bit too easy, it looks like, for this Leeds attack.
You'd imagine there is plenty of players on the Leeds bench saying to the coach, can I go on? Because it feels like one of those nights now where there's tries up for grabs.
Yeah, these are absolutely points to be had, and you know, we've got just under 10 minutes left, and the talk from Warrington, you'd imagine, would just be don't concede any more points. And it's a shame that they're at this stage of the game where the game's already gone, and it's just about pride now for Warrington, and that's what they need to be talking about. They should have pride in that defence, irrelevant of what the scoreline is now. They need to stop conceding and leaking these easy points and start strengthening up in that defensive area. They've got the attacking threat. They're not earning the right to play. They're not getting into the good areas of the field in order to challenge Leeds.
The gaps on the terraces are getting more pronounced. 8.5 minutes to go. By the way, Reece Martin missed that conversion, so that's now 3 out of 8. I think Leeds will go off with a bounce, but I think Reece Martin might be coming back on again afterwards to practice his goal kicking, because he's had a dreadful night by his standards. That's 10 points that have gone missing from his boot. But Leeds still very, very comfortable. Warrington 4, Leeds 34. Reminder earlier, Catalan 14, Huddersfield 22. Great win for Huddersfield, that. Leeming, because Catalan looking very much one of the sides who can challenge St Helens at the top, but Huddersfield creeping into that kind of contention as well now. Here comes Dwyer, out of dummy half for Leeds. It's moved left again. Myler anticipating the defender coming towards him, catches the ball and dashes forward off a left foot step. 5 gone, here comes the last. Hardacre's carrying it now. Donaldson, along the line it goes. They're going to go through hand here. They don't bother about kicking. They're just going to try and unlock that Warrington defence again. They don't do on this occasion. Tackle comes in on Sutcliffe. Warrington get it back 10 metres from their own line.
And if you're 34 points to 4 up, why not try and play on last and try and, you know, play whilst you're up and confident and throw the ball around. Sutcliffe again, he gets tackled there, but it's challenging that Warrington right side defence really well all game. And now Warrington have got the ball, and they're really going to have to work hard and dig in for each other to try and move upfield and challenge and hopefully get some points on the board and end on a positive, really, in what's been, you know, quite a negative second half for Warrington.
Jodie Cunningham alongside us tonight. St Helens and England scored a heroic try in St Helens' recent Challenge Cup final victory against Leeds a few weeks ago now. It's a tight game though, wasn't it, that one?
It was. You know, it's nice to talk about Leeds and it not be the women's team, to be honest, because they are definitely one of our biggest rivals and fantastic team, and that final was such an amazing game to play in, and yeah, it could have gone either way. They played fantastically well, you know, really fortunate to be on the winning side of that, but it felt good.
And you get the the Women's Super League obviously is in full swing now, but you get the weekend off this weekend, don't you? But there is a big game. York against Leeds is going to be a terrific battle.
Yeah, so Saints no game this weekend, so Sunday I'll be glued to my laptop watching Leeds v York, because that's no doubt going to be a fantastic game with both teams playing incredibly well at the minute.
Well, it could be a Leeds double. Leeds men are certainly on the way to a victory here. 6 minutes to go. 34-4 the scoreline. I think even the most optimistic Leeds fan would not have predicted this kind of ease tonight for their side.
Absolutely not. I thought this was going to be a close game. You know, both teams really needing that victory today, wanting to have a reaction over what's been so far an understated season for both teams. So yeah, I definitely did not see this blow-away score from Leeds, but they should be proud of the performance so far. I'm sure Rowan Smith will be really happy with the way his teams earned the right to play and then took their opportunities when they'd come.
Leeds are pushing again. 5 minutes to go, and they find themselves in possession. 10 metres out. Dwyer from dummy half again. Back on the inside, Jared O'Connor is dragged down. Dwyer occupies that acting half position again and slings it out to the left. Milo with a little dummy, but he's closed down quickly this time. That was Williams who came bouncing out of the line and put the hit on. Dwyer goes from dummy half. He fancied there were a few bodies, maybe not quite ready behind the ruck from Warrington, but they've tackled him, but in the in-goal area. So Leeds go back. Oh, it's a handover. Was that a six settle? It was a six settle. Handover for Warrington. Right on their own line again. Our necks are going to be aching for the amount of time we've looked right in this game, because it all seems to have been inside that Warrington half, whether they've had the ball or Leeds have had the ball.
Yeah, particularly this half, a lot of the game has been played in Warrington's 20-30 metres, and they're going to be wanting to get into some good field position, because at the minute they can't throw the ball around because they're not earning the right to get there and do it, and they're not getting out of yardage. Some silly errors that have come early on in sets and just not quite making the yardage that Leeds are when they're coming out of their own half. So be interesting to see if they can muscle up in the forwards, really gain those yards and get into that Leeds half now.
Well, they're shifting the ball about here. Matorti has offered it back to Williams. Williams with a short pass. Magoulias has dropped it. Oh, off his chest, the referee says. So Warrington are allowed to play on. It comes to Ben Curry on this left-hand side. Curry trying to advance. Oh, and he's flicked one up, and it was a poor pass. But it's not touched anyone. So the referee says play on, with Matty Ashton scampering through. Bit of fortune there for Warrington. But they're only 20 metres out here, looking for a consolation prize. Williams has given the pass away. Hanley puts his head down. The Leeds winger is off and flying down that left-hand side. They're not going to catch him. They are not going to catch him. Well, doesn't that put the tin hat on things? He flies in underneath the sticks. 100 yards. Ash Hanley has just sprinted to score. The pass delivered by a Warrington player. It rather sums up the night from both sides' point of view. Leeds in their pomp, Warrington down in the dumps, and the fans take that, those that remain, as another side to head for the exits. Leeds 38, Warrington 4. Capitulation.
Ash Hanley there really getting to show his pace on that outside edge. I mean, we spoke about Matty Ashton's pace. Ash Hanley's got his fair share as well, and as soon as he took that ball, straight away you had the accelerator on right down that left edge, and no one could catch him. There was no one within 5-10 metres of him, and Cooper, I think you have to credit for the chase back. He really did put effort in there to try, and hoping probably for an Ash Hanley stutter if he was going to ever make that tackle, but the effort was there all the same, and that's what you want to see. If I'm a Warrington player, if I'm a coach, I want to see that people are making those efforts, even if the play's gone, even if it is Ash Hanley who's made that break. You want to see that your players are trying to chase back.
Rhys Martin, almost as if Ash Hanley has said, go on Rhys, I'll score one underneath the sticks, make it easy for you. And he has kicked this one, 4 out of 9. But 4 points to Warrington, 40 points to Leeds. And this is two stories here tonight. Leeds, who new coach, maybe not looking too convincing. Suddenly this looks like a team here tonight, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can't take anything away from what Leeds have delivered tonight. You know, Warrington haven't been up to scratch. They defensively just haven't been there, but Leeds have been quality, and they really have shipped this ball around. The forwards have looked really strong. Everybody's done their role really well, and they've played to the conditions. They've really tired Warrington out and then took advantage on these edges, and everything seems to have stuck for Leeds today, and probably the opposite for Warrington. But Rowan Smith has got to be proud of what he's seen today from the lads, and gives him confidence that he can really work with his squad for the rest of the season.
And from Warrington's point of view, 2 steps forward in their performance against St Helens a couple of weeks ago, albeit in defeat. But tonight, 7 or 8 steps backwards. How do you recover a bit of confidence after this? This is Leeming for Leeds. You sense they've not finished yet. Ash Handley is on a potential hat-trick. David Fusitua is on a potential hat-trick. The 2 wingers would love to seal the deal. And here they come again with Dwyer de Leeds, who's trying to bounce through the line. 5 gone, last to go. 20 metres out, Leeming puts a chip in towards the right corner. It's caught in the in-goal area on the full by Gareth Widdop. So Warrington get the ball back. 40 seconds to go. They're not going to finish this set of 7 as it is because of the catch in the in-goal area. But at least you'd think they're not going to concede again. But given that it was a Warrington player who provided the bullets for the last try, that is not a given. Philbin running forward to this left-hand side. Curry, lone man. Neither centre nor winger out there, just Ben Curry, all by himself. Tattle on the halfway line, 15 seconds to go. We're going to be getting live reaction down on the field as well when the hooter sounds from, well, certainly the Leeds team. I think they'll be queuing up to chat to us about the way it's gone tonight. Peter Matortia is tackled. That will be that. And listen to that. We're surrounded by Warrington fans. You could hear what they thought about that performance, that defeat. But at the far end, what you can't hear or see are the Leeds fans down at the away end who are absolutely delighted with what must be surely their best performance and best win of the season so far.
Yeah, the Leeds fans are ecstatic with that performance, and so they should be. It's been clinical from this Leeds side today. You know, I think every single player, 1 to 17, has really put a shift in today. They've done the jobs well, they've took their opportunities, they've been so clinical. And, you know, Warrington probably the polar opposite, and there's probably a lot of reflection that needs to happen from the Warrington side off the back of this. And defensively, it's not been good enough from them. But they'll need to regroup and look at this for the next games, because, you know, they've got some tough games coming up. It's not going to get any easier for this Warrington side.
One of the Warrington fans just coming, one of the regulars here just walked past and looked at me and went, shameful. And then he wanted a real conversation, but then we had to remind him we're on air, so you can't do that. But I mean, that sums up the Warrington faithful here, really struggling with the way their team are performing on a regular basis, on a consistent basis this year.
Yeah, and I mentioned it earlier, I think the frustration comes because the talent's there and the ability is there, and they show it at times. They showed it at times in the first half, and they showed it definitely for what was pretty much an 80-minute performance against St Helens, where they just fell short and it could have gone either way. And that's more frustrating, that you know they can do it, but they just can't seem to consistently perform that way week in, week out. And they throw out performances like tonight, which for a side of Warrington's calibre, for the quality and value of players on that pitch, just isn't good enough.
Well, as I said, we are going to grab some live interviews from some of those Leeds players before the end, but a lot of them are going towards the Leeds supporters who have stayed. You know, we were saying about Warrington fans have disappeared. Well, the Leeds fans, quite understandably, have stayed here. Long trip home on the M62 tonight, which will inevitably be closed at some point, because it always is on a Friday night. But they won't mind that long journey back tonight, because they're going home with a little bit of hope in their hearts. I mean, is it that they leap above Warrington, as you were saying earlier? Is it too long a shot to think of them as grand finalists? If they keep this form going, can they make it, do you reckon?
Who knows? I think, you know, for Leeds, they've done it before, and I think they'll probably take solace. You know, they've won and been grand final winners, coming from 5th on 2 different occasions. So for them, they'll not think it's past them, and I think for any team, you've got to think that it's possible, and based on a performance like today, they could turn any team over, the way they've been playing. And if they can consistently put out performances like they have done tonight, week in, week out, then they'll definitely climb the way up that table, and the playoff system gives them the opportunity to get there and get to that final.
It's all about making the 6, isn't it? As you say, if they get in the 6 and they are in form, then they are a team that other clubs will not fancy taking on. Who are we going to have a chat with here? I wonder if we're going to hear from David Fusitua. Who's this? Is this James Donaldson? He's putting the headphones on. Well, fantastic performance. How much did you enjoy that tonight?
No more than usual. Truth be told, it was a little bit hard to watch. Some of my best mates were in that opposition, and you know, obviously we've had a tough year too, so to see them in that spot hurt a little bit, but that's been a long time coming for us. We've been working really hard, and really pleasing to get that result.
How much of a difference has Rowan Smith made? I mean, is it possible for him to make a big difference?
I'd say yeah, definitely. We can't give all the credit to Rowan. We went out and we got it done. So But certainly the boys are really enjoying the ideas he's got about rugby league, and I'm sure everyone sat at home and saw that it was pretty evident tonight.
That burst of tries in that first half made such a difference. Up to that point, it felt as though this could go any way, this game. So, how important was it that you got that sudden burst of energy?
Yeah, they started pretty well too. They had a lot of chances that they couldn't quite convert, and to our credit, we made them pay, and then we went on with it, which is the most pleasing thing.
Blake, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks
for joining us. Blake Austin down there, former Warrington man. Zach Hardaker's putting their headphones on now. Zach, you must be absolutely thrilled to bits with that tonight.
Yeah, really are. It was a big week for both clubs, I think, going into the game, and we spoke about how important it was for us, and these two vital points that we've got tonight. It's a big kick up the ladder for us, and it puts us in good stead for the rest of the season now. So we've just got to not get too carried away with the performance, even though I think Warrington bombed a few tries, to be honest. So all in all, it's a good performance, great win. The fans that have travelled over have seen a good performance, and the players are happy with that as well.
Yeah, I think the Warrington fans will say that their defence wasn't the best tonight, but you still showed some moments of brilliance anyway, and the try in the first half when Richie Myler tipped that ball back on the inside, how good was that? You were congratulating him before the try had been scored there. How good was that?
Yeah, I said to him, I think I owe you a beer. I think he's nearly missing 2 or 3 teeth there. We've got a few moves that that we do on the training park. So whenever they come off on the Sky game especially, it's pretty special. So all my job there is timing. So Rich did all the hard work there. Took a big knock for me as well. So like I say, we're slowly progressing the way we want to do under Owen. We just need to keep grinding out the wins, keep turning up for each other in training, and keep climbing that ladder.
Are you talking about potential grand finals, playoffs at this stage, or is it?
No.
Is that too far ahead?
No, too far ahead.
Yeah.
Look, we know where we are, and the club know where it's been, and it's about a rebuild. And we're not going to go and win probably every game of the season and finish top of the table. We've got to keep it grounded, and we've just got to keep turning up for each other at training, which we have been doing the last couple of weeks. Keep grinding out the wins. Tonight, like I said, was a very important win for us, not just for the 2 points, but just for the momentum of the league, and just give us belief and that hunger to going on for the rest of the season. So like I say, not going to get too carried away, but coming to Warrington on a Friday night and getting the 2 points is always good.
And how are you? Because obviously settling back in at Leeds, but you had a health issue in your first week back. How are you now?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Everything's good outside of rugby. I'm happy. The health's holding up, and everything seems to be in order at the minute. And when we're winning, it makes me even happier. So long may it continue for this season.
Well, congratulations tonight, Zach. Well done.
Thank you, mate. Cheers, pal.
And as he goes, I think there's a bit of a disturbance to our left. I think that's Warrington fans who are not too happy. I think the 1 or 2 directors and the chief executive, it might be up there, and Warrington fans have stayed just chanting their discontent. Meantime, the team with a smile on their faces are Leeds, and Cruz Leeming has presumably got a big smile on his face, because he normally has. Is that a big smile, Cruz?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, really big smile.
Good performance from your side tonight.
Yeah, really proud of the boys. I've just spoke to Jenna there we spoke a lot about defence, and I think the most bit that I'm proud of is that 4 points that they only leaked. And there were a lot of times that first half where they broke us, and these prop forwards getting across and making cover tackles on halves, and I think that's what you need to build your foundations on. That comes first, and then all the pretty stuff comes after. And we knew if we stuck in the game and we hammered down the front door and hammered it, eventually it'd break, and I think that happened today. The floodgates opened, and we scored a lot of points, which were pleasing to see.
Yeah, and you played with a lot of flair and a lot of self-belief, more or less from the start tonight, so confidence was clearly there.
Yeah, it is. I've said this for the last couple of weeks. I think we've been building. We've been like a ship that's trying to, we're all rowing and trying as hard as sometimes the direction of where we're going's been wrong. And I think with Rowan coming in, he's steadied the ship a little bit and give us a bit more direction, a little bit more detail in what he wants from us, and made it really simple. We're never too old or too good to learn, and I think that's what he's come in. He started with the bog standard basics, and with the limited time he's had, he's been great.
Where do you go this season? What's available to you? What can you achieve this season?
We're going for that top 6 spot. And then who knows what can happen.
Well, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Going to be interesting. Thank you very much indeed.
Bye.
Cruz, well done tonight.
Bye.
Terrific stuff. Cruz Leeming down there. I mean, his performances this year have been fantastic, haven't they? Cruz Leeming, he looks like a potential England number 9.
100%. I've been really impressed with him this season, even when Leeds haven't quite got the performances that they'd wanted in previous games this season. I still think he's been one of their standout players. He's really consistent, performs week in, week out, and tonight he was outstanding, and he was the difference, I think, when they needed that game breaker, when they needed to change the momentum and really start to kill Warrington off. It was his involvement that brought that about, and I think he's a worthy representative of England, and he'll definitely be chucking his name in the hat to be pulling on that shirt at the end of the year.
Well, Warrington fans always stay around after the game, and players go round and sign autographs and have selfies, and there's a bunch down to our left-hand side who have stayed behind for that reason, but they've clearly, I think, spotted one or two of the directors up behind us, and they've been voicing their disquiet. It's all very peaceful, they're all stood there now. There's no violence, no threat, but clearly they were voicing their disquiet. Warrington are not getting it right so far this season. There have been flickers and flares along the way, but they're not quite getting it right. And tonight was another of those nights. Warrington 4, Leeds 40. It's finished here. The other Super League game tonight, terrific performance from Huddersfield. They've beaten Catalan 24 points to 14. Stephen Nolan is coming next here on 5 Live. But of course, before all of that, we'll be hearing the 5 Live news from Matthew Bowen. From myself and from Jodie, very good evening to you.